City Council regular meeting of March 27th, 2017. Madam Clerk, the roll.
Dalden.
Here.
Russell.
Here.
Vixen.
Here.
Cuthbertson.
Here.
Dovanelli.
Here.
Peterson. Ray.
Here.
I'm going to go off script a couple times tonight, so bear with me. I'd like to invite all the children to the front so we can lead in the Pledge of Allegiance. That's all you little ones. Come on.
It's like church, you know, when you come up in front.
Children's time.
Children's time.
Nick, feel free and join in.
You guys can come up here.
Come on up.
All the way up there, get up there, turn around and see.
Might as well get them involved now, right? Come on up. Here's the flag.
Flag go. Oh, it's way over there.
Come up here, bud.
Whenever you're ready.
See him? Ready?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well done, ladies.
I didn't.
I know, right?
Cheers.
Do you know the words?
I'm also going to take an item out of order so our young members, that are citizens that are here this evening, can hear their item. I know it's out of order, but as chair, I'm able to do that. That way their parents can take them home and finish their homework. So we are going to take item, let's see, B, under 8, B, item 7. School crossing guard. So if all of you pull it out of your packet.
Got it.
Mr. City Manager, please.
All right. As people are flipping through their packet, I'm grabbing my copy. The North Hill School has been involved in a project to improve the safety of those who walk or ride their bikes to school. The goal would be to increase the number of students who would walk or ride. There's some information in the packet actually outlining what the students did for an overall survey. And there was a study that was presented to administration. Our chief was also present, as well as I believe at least one council member. And there's before council a request for up to $5,000 for this upcoming school year to fund a crossing guard.
Thank you. Did anybody in the audience want to say something before I have council deliberate this item? Going once, please come forward. Yes. If you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, David Murphy, 16846 Renee Drive in Macomb Township. I'm the principal at North Hill.
Oh, welcome.
So on behalf of all the families behind me and the parents, there has been quite a long process in place where we've tried to increase both the number of students walking to school but also the safety of those that choose to walk. A lot of the feedback we get is that because so many people are arriving at the same time and because Holy Family School just down the road has about a 20-minute difference of start time, a lot choose not to walk because of just our entrance point. We were built as a neighborhood school and we now have a lot of traffic, both in the 20 minutes leading to school and the 20 minutes after, as anyone that lives along that road can attest. Really with this request to have a school crossing guard about a block off of our property, I think it would serve two purposes. Number one, most importantly, those children that are choosing to walk now would have a much safer path. Parents would probably be able to let them walk maybe on their own and not have to walk them all the way to the property. And number two, something about someone in a vest just tends to slow people down that are in a car. And I think a lot of others might choose to walk, choose to bike if that person is there and if the traffic is slowing down a little bit. So I thank you for considering it. Mrs. Ofer is one of the families that really headed this effort up. She can't be here tonight, but she did a lot of work for this as well. And again, I'd be happy to answer any questions any of you have, but thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. Council, go ahead, Councilmember Cuthbertson.
Thank you, and thank you to all the North Hill families here this evening, including mine. As Principal Murphy said, and I think the manager and the police chief have been engaged as well. There are a host of reasons why I think this is a prudent and necessary thing to do. In fact, one thing I'd like council to understand here is that this is not a standalone, hey, city fix this. There is a host of education activities that will take place. There's the evaluation of some funding that relates to moving a sidewalk that makes internal movement of people safer. So this is really part of a broader effort in that regard. So I don't want this to be taken in a vacuum. One other highlight is that schools, Rochester Community Schools in Rochester Hills typically have already a crossing guard, and so if we're going to keep up with the Joneses, as it were, that alone would be a basis upon which to do this. I'm kidding, but a community immediately adjacent to us has seen the wisdom in this program as well. Now, from a general municipal standpoint, there is the possibility that McGregor School, which has an intersection basically, I think it's about not quite a block further, so their problem isn't, they don't have the nature of the problem that North Hill does, nor do they have a Holy Family on basically the same street. So to be fair, there's the possibility of another school perhaps requesting this in the future. But given the modest sum and having seen this in fact firsthand, I'd like to make a motion to approve the budget request presented this evening.
Support.
Motion by Councilmember Cuthbertson, support by Councilmember Peterson. I'd just like to say, as a parent of now grown safeties, 30, 27, and 23, I can attest how important this is. And truly, this is what government is for, is to keep our citizens safe. And there's nothing more important than our children. So I am in full support of something like this. And if McGregor comes, that's where my kids went. So be it. I think it's super important. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you so much for coming and supporting this request. One of the things that I think is critical for this is really having more kids walk and bike to school. And so really, how are you promoting that? I would love to see what the program is and maybe a report at the end of the year of telling us success that you're having, X amount of people, students, parents, walking and biking to school. My children went to North Hill as well, and so I am very much in support of this activity. And when I'm looking at something like this, I'm looking at what the critical piece of it and what the safety piece of it is for our community. And so, like Councilmember Cuthbertson said, this is a modest amount. And so I would welcome even any school that didn't matter, if there was 10 schools. You're starting something fantastic. So thank you for putting this great request together, because you really took really great bullet points and made it easy for council to digest. So thank you.
Any other? Councilmember Giovanelli.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thanks for coming this evening. Appreciate it. This is one of the more easy ones to support on the planet. But I'm just curious from the chief's perspective and administration, if there's other things we ought to be considering with respect to traffic calming and those sort of things, and in all the schools in the city. So if there's things that we should be taking a peek at, have those recommendations brought forth, and then we can include them in the budget for the upcoming year to the extent that we can help in an additional way. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Cuthbertson.
Well, I just add to what my colleague proposed there. I do think there's a couple of things that could be added to that kind of a list. The first one is a dialogue on start time with the school district and with Holy Family, and trying to find a way to disconnect that by a greater period of time. Essentially, that involves organizations other than the city, but to whatever extent we can foster or help facilitate that conversation would be helpful. There's probably a traffic study somewhere in this, I've had, wild dreams of, trying to put another exit road out onto North Main, just one way out But, according to the city engineer, that's about $250,000. So those sort of solutions don't exactly have, near-term possibilities, but there are other things like that. And, I'm certainly happy to present a summary of those if to administration, if that's helpful.
Okay. Any other comments? Councilmember Ray.
Go Owls.
Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Sheldon.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Cuthbertson.
Yes.
Jovenelli.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
You got your crossing guard. And you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting.
Yay!
Actually, if you're going to applaud after every vote, if you could stay, that'd be nice.
That'd be nice.
They don't even want to leave. Look what you did.
I know, right?
Okay, so next, I'll let the chamber exit. Okay.
Is he here?
Yes.
Oh, there he is, hiding behind the knitters.
Yes. So next, we are going to have a proclamation for Chris Johnson, owner of the Meeting House, for his recent win as Regional Chef of the Year by the American Culinary Federation, and I will read the proclamation. Whereas Chris Johnson, owner and executive chef of the Meeting House, was recognized as winner of the 2017 Regional Chef of the Year by the American Culinary Federation, and whereas the award recognizes an outstanding culinary who demonstrated the highest standard of culinary skills, advanced the cuisine of America, and has given back to the profession through the development of students and apprentices, and whereas the City of Rochester recognizes and takes tremendous pride in Chris Johnson's talent and hard work. Now, therefore, let it be known that the City of Rochester hereby authorizes the issuance of this special proclamation recognizing Chris Johnson as winner of the 2017 Regional Chef of the Year Award.
And show them his medal.
Check that bling.
I've had the pleasure of eating Mr. Johnson's food, and it is spectacular.
Medieval.
That's some weight.
Congrats, man. Congrats.
Thank you all so much. Well done. Thank you.
That's going to be on the menu at some point, right?
As long as the chicken wings stay, I'm good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
I love good things.
This is the fun part of the meeting. Oh, next? Yes, exactly. Presentation from State Representative Mr. Michael Weber. Welcome.
Hello, thank you, Mayor and City Council and residents of the City of Rochester. My name is Michael Weber, and I serve as the State Representative for the Greater Rochester area. And thank you once again for allowing me a few minutes to provide a legislative update. We did start a new session for the 2017-2018 year, and so I did want to update everyone on committee assignments. I do sit on some new committees this term that I think are pertinent to the area and the region. In addition to continuing my role on the Insurance Committee, I'm also the Vice Chair now of the Transportation Infrastructure Committee. In addition, I serve on the Regulatory Reform and then the Elections and Ethics Committee, and actually working with Clerk Barton in her office on a couple election-related bills right now. In terms of the biggest thing that we do, it's the biggest thing that you guys do every year is the budget. As you know, the governor has presented his budget, which starts the budget process. There has been some chatter in the press and in Lansing that we may not get that budget done on time, and I'm here to assure you that we're going to do everything that we can to get it done in June, as we have the first 2 years that I've been in office, and all the entire time that Governor Snyder's been in office. 6 for 6. We're trying to go 7 for 7, and of course, what that creates is certainty for our municipalities and our school districts in terms of the budgets that they're putting together. And of course, our fiscal year starts October 1st, but we don't want to go up to that deadline if we can avoid it. In terms of revenue sharing, the governor has proposed kind of a flat budget for revenue sharing, so not a decrease, but not necessarily a significant increase. But certainly that can change over the next 3 months, so we'll be watching that. Another item that you've probably been reading about, and I've actually met with City Manager Wing on, is the governor has put together a commission to review unfunded liabilities, OPEB reform. So far, no recommendations have come out of that, but certainly everybody's going to be watching that because of the effect that it has on municipalities. 2 bills that I'm working on that I've talked a little bit about in the past, but they're reintroductions that I'm working with the Michigan Municipal League on. They're regarding infrastructure. They are in the local government committee and not the transportation committee. I wanted to make that clear. But we have House Bill 4290. It's a reintroduction on the sewer liability bill that I had that passed the House last year, but it was too late for the Senate to take it up. And then Rep. Mike McCready from Birmingham, he's got a bill, House Bill 4100, that I'm supportive of in terms of allowing for stormwater utility. And I know that that's been an issue not only in Birmingham, but some discussion in Rochester and Rochester Hills on that. So watch for both of those bills as they make their way through the process. Another issue that maybe doesn't affect our downtown city as much, but I did reintroduce House Bill 4415 to provide greater local control over gravel road speed limits. Now, because of Rep. Jacobson's legislation last year, now in Oakland County, our gravel road speeds are 45 miles per hour, down from 55, so we see improvement there. But as you know, we have some high-density residential in the greater Rochester area, and we think there should be more local control in terms of perhaps looking at a speed study to get them down to 35 or so. And then also for the second session in a row, our House near unanimously passed bipartisan legislation to subject the legislature and the governor to FOIA, Freedom of Information Act. We're hoping for action this term from the Senate. And a lot of us on both sides of the aisle have local government, county commission backgrounds, and we're subject to FOIA there, and we just think that that's the right thing to do. So maybe when Senator Nolenberg or Senator Marlowe or whoever comes, you can put a bug in their ear, but we're hoping for some movement on that this term. And then lastly, just wanted to leave you and residents with some contact information on ways to get a hold of me and get a hold of the office. 517-373-1773 is the phone number. Email is Michael Weber, all spelled out, at house.mi.gov. And then the website is repmichaelweber.com, and that's where people can sign up for email newsletters through the office, can see monthly office hour information and that kind of thing. So appreciate
Thank you so
the
much,
opportunity. Thank you.
Representative. Any questions from the council?
I have
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
Representative Weber, the bill 4100 how does that affect the local utility? I mean, just in a quick nutshell. In a
Well, and actually, the city attorney can maybe speak a little bit to. There was a legal case a few years back that has kind of stopped municipalities from taking certain funding in terms of stormwater utility. And so, I know, in Rochester Hills, that fund is set to pretty much be zero by 2018. And so the idea is, you have a water utility or a sewer utility, you could have a stormwater utility and set it up. So it doesn't require the municipality to do it, it just allows for it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming. Next, we have receipt of a bicentennial update from Christy Favaro.
Good evening, Council. I'm going to skip back for a second. Hi. Good evening. I just wanted to give you a brief update because I know you have a very long agenda tonight on how we've been doing since we kicked off our bicentennial celebration just 2 weeks ago. So starting with our Founders Day recap, which was on March 12th. It was a great event. We had well over 200 people there. I know several council members were there, so thank you for coming. We do appreciate it. And it was a great day. In addition to celebrating our community, we celebrated these people and their contributions to our community. There were actually 6 community Wall of Fame inductees, including our own Gail Kemler, who is turning 100 this year.
Wow.
So we are very excited about that. And special thanks, of course, to the mayor and her husband, Tom, for coming and being our guest speakers at the event. It was very well received, and I've received many new requests for you guys to make appearances,
Yeah,
so
well,
they
that
want you to
isn't
take it on the road.
happening.
Yes.
Sorry, but no thanks.
I kind of have been getting that answer. So, but coming up next, so that's just the first thing that what we've done so far. Now, Heritage Days is coming. This is one of my new photos of floatables that has come from the photos over at Rochester Hills Museum at Van Hoosen Farm. Registration is going to begin on May 3rd, which we're pretty excited about. We are going to be keeping our original registration fee. We were able to find the original documents from the last floatables that was held, and the registration fee is $2. So plan your budgets accordingly, but $2 for that. And then you can register online at our website, which is downtownrochestermi.com, or in person at my office, which is 308.5 Main Street above Holland Floral. Councilmember Ray.
Are there any rules or restrictions on submissions, or is this a total free-for-all?
The only one thing that we haven't announced yet is the theme. So it would have to conform to theme. And keep in mind, it is not a race, but it's much more of a show, if you will. The only rule, we are trying to keep the rules from last time, so that your watercraft does have to make it from start to finish with all of its riders. From start to finish. We're kind of loose on the rest of it, but basically, whoever you start with and whatever it looked like, we love it to look that way when you're done.
Okay.
But we're flexible.
Okay.
Okay, so that's Heritage Days. But there is another new thing that's going to be added to Heritage Days, and I can thank Councilmember Russell for helping me with this. So, the Heritage Days Committee has been working on bringing back the beard and mustache growing contest, which was last held in 1969. And so they were talking about it at a meeting. And Councilmember Cuthbertson's gotten a great start. So, but they were trying to figure out exactly how this might work. So this is going to be a new item. I volunteered because I just thought it sounded so quirky and fun. So it is going to be a beard and mustache growing contest. It's going to be sponsored by Kingsfield Grooming downtown. I don't know if anyone has been there, but they take quite a bit of pride in this. They are one of our newer businesses in town, but they were excited to jump at the opportunity. We were actually able to capture the gentleman in that button, so we can recreate that. We've already digitized him, and I don't think you can really see in the photo, but the bottle he's holding says Whisker Elixir. It's just too fabulous for words. I can't even. So the contestants are going to be judged on length of beard or creativity. So there you go. People can register online at downtownrochestermi.com or in person, again, at the DDA office. The other thing that I would mention is that in the past when they did this, apparently back in 1969, it wasn't always favorable to have a long, unkempt beard. So those were buttons that the participants actually wore, and they would also get a membership card saying that they were a member of Brothers of the Brush and that they were participating in a competition to make it allowed for them to have this at their workplace. So, of course, we will be recreating that as well. Oh, yeah. We only get one shot at this. I'll be dead next time we do this. So I'm going all in. Yes. Okay. So we're very excited about that. Now, the next item that's coming up, and actually, Chris, can you give me that canvas? So right there. Sorry. Thank you. So our Rochester 200 project. So this is what we're doing. So we have 10 by 10 canvases as shown here. We are asking members of our community to put their favorite Rochester memories on this 10 by 10 canvas. We have 200 of them in honor of our 200th birthday. And then the exhibition is going to be at Pink Creek Center for the Arts May 30th through June 17th. So people can sign up for this at our office. Registration is going to begin April 3rd. It's a $10 registration fee. People of all ages can join, mixed media, whatever you like. It can be paint, it can be paper, it can be toys, whatever it is that is your favorite memory. These are then going to all be sold for $50 a piece at a closing reception on June 17th, $50 in honor of the 50th anniversary of the city being incorporated. So there we are. So that's just a little sample right there. Then, a few more things coming up, looking ahead. So we do have the Daffodil Quilt Challenge Bicentennial Exhibit, which is at the library, and that's May 5th through 7th. The State of the City Address, which is going to be on April 17th. While it's not a bicentennial event, we will have a beautiful photo roll of some fantastic historic photos that will be going on as well, and I know that we're going to have display boards around the room depicting specific dates in Rochester history. The bicentennial issue of the In Town magazine will feature a historic photo of downtown, including a bicentennial timeline inside and an article about James Graham and our history from Pat McKay from Rochester Hills Museum at Van Hoosen Farm. And then in May, we'll be putting out a call for businesses and organizations celebrating milestones. That was something that the mayor and I worked on, is that she would love for me, because a lot of people are celebrating big milestones this year, not just Rochester. We want to celebrate them as well. So we'll be preparing proclamations and bringing them to some meetings in June to receive proclamations from the council.
They're happy meeting.
And then, of course, we want everyone to save the date for the Bicentennial Barn Dance on June 23rd. We are officially partnering with Rochester Hills. We are saying jeans are preferred, boots are optional. There will be a pie stand, there will be barbecue, there will be a silent auction, and all the proceeds will benefit for us, the Rochester Bicentennial Monument, and for Rochester Hills, the new equipment barn that they are building out at the museum. So we're very excited for that. So I just wanted to give you that brief update. And of course, if anyone in the community, anybody watching at home still wants to figure out a way that they could get involved, please feel free to contact me. There's my contact information right on the screen.
Great, thank you, Christy. Any questions? Great job. Thank you.
Next, we have presentation of the Good Neighbor Awards. Welcome, Ms. Oates.
Thank you very much. As most of you know at this point, the Good Neighbor Award was created to acknowledge people in the community who are doing something to go above and beyond, and probably are not looking for any kind of recognition, and that's what we're here for. So tonight we have a very exciting award. Our first quarter Good Neighbor Award is going to go to Nancy Hill, Margaret Shepard, and Sarah Zawada. I hope I pronounced that correctly. If you ladies would like to come up, they are affectionately known to all of us as the Knitting Ladies. And this nomination came from Mayor Dalden, and it is given to them for being the perfect example of good neighbors. I would like to read a little bit from the nomination form for you. Week in and week out, we, the members of City Council, are here to represent, support, and reflect the will and wishes of the citizens of Rochester. We do this simply because we want to give back to our community. Well, week after week, there's another group of people who are here, rain or shine, to support us, stay informed on what's going on in the city, and at the same time, handcraft some pretty wonderful and warm things to wear. I am, of course, talking about the Rochester Knitting Club, a group of curious, concerned, and engaged citizens who have taken their hobby and turned it into a fun and creative way to stay in touch with what's happening in our hometown. They set a wonderful example to all of us. If more people could stay connected the way they do, it would make our jobs on the council so much easier. And even though they have in the past shared some of their wonderful wares with all of us here on council, I assure you they are lobbying for nothing more than to be enlightened citizens. So on behalf of City Council, the Mayor, and the City Beautiful Commission, congratulations, ladies.
I feel like I need to be wearing my hat.
Thank you all, and if I can ask the members of the City Beautiful Commission to step out into the hallway for just a moment to get another photo. Thank you.
That was good, Madam Mayor.
That was that was really nice. We had to recognize
This is
them.
carrot and stick. Something bad is going to happen. I just know it. This is going
I'm
too
prepping.
good.
It's kind of
Such a
called
great
prepping.
meeting so far. You know.
All right. Meeting adjourned. All right, next we have approval of the consent agenda. 1, 2, 3.
Miscellaneous.
Oh, gosh, thank you. I got ahead of myself.
Yes, don't get excited.
Thank you. Next, I would like to welcome anybody who would like to come up for miscellaneous public comment this evening. Please come forward.
Hi there. Sue Douglas, 1228 North Main Street. I know you're trying to save homes in this city, but can you tell me why this one went down? See, it's not a bad-looking house. Last Monday on Harrison Street, and I thank Lynn Anderson for posting these photos. And here it is coming down. And it came the rest of the way there. So, you know, what is one house going to do for this house that came down last Monday? To build what's probably known as a McMansion on it. It isn't a falling down, icky house, but it's gone now. So, what is one house that you're going after, and I'll talk on that when I get to it, going to do for that? You might want to think about that, because some of you have expressed specifically that this has historic value in saving homes in the city. One house? Please, talk about it later.
Thank you. Any other miscellaneous public comment? Please come forward. No, we're actually on the miscellaneous, so anything that's not on the agenda, you can come up and talk to at this time. All right, thank you. Anybody else miscellaneous? All right, we'll go ahead and move forward. I have the approval of the consent agenda 6 items. Consideration of a request for a block party on Ferndale on Sunday, April 9th, 2017, from 1 to 6 p.m. Consideration of a special event application from the Rochester Community Schools Foundation to hold the annual Hometown Hustle 5K run on May 13th. Consideration of a special event application from Ryan Rocks to hold an Outdoor Adventures Blue Gill Derby on June 10th, 2017 in the Municipal Park. Consideration of a special event application from the Uncovered Theater Company and Rochester College Players to hold the annual Shakespeare in the Park event on July 18th, 19th, 25th, and 26th, 2017 in the park, Municipal Park. Consideration of a special event application from the Principal Shopping District to hold Deck Art 2017 on May 11th and 12th. And consideration of a resolution extending the medical marijuana moratorium. Do I have motion by Councilmember Peterson? Support by Councilmember Giovanelli. Any discussion on the items? Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Dalden.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Cuthbertson.
Yes.
Giovanelli.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we will go to old business or tabled items. First is the discussion regarding the 1311 Main Street landmark property. Ma'am, if you wanted to come forward now, this would be, please come forward. Don't worry, take your time.
Next to Nick, if that's okay, because I can't stand for long. I don't really use this. I'm doing it for sympathy.
Hey man, it's working. It's working. You got to work it.
Thank you for that.
Are you ready for my sob story? Okay. My name is David Stalker. My wife, Susan Lawrence, and I. You're going to have to.
Thank you for allowing me to address council prior to the vote on the landmark proxy matter.
Nick.
Since my wife Susan addressed the council on March 13th, we have discovered there are others, frankly many others, who agreed that the council should not pursue this course of action. We note Ms. Susan Friedlander's March 22nd letter to the council. Quote, the city council has no legal basis or authority to regulate property for historic purposes in this manner and can only achieve its goals through the purchase or condemnation of an historic easement, unquote. The point we make is certainly not a legal statement as per the letter, although I believe Ms. Friedlander's position on the purchase of an historic easement is, I believe, similar to or identical to the position taken by Ms. Deborah Larson. Our point is the property we are debating is both our investment and, more importantly, our home. There is little that we can add from my wife's presentation to the last council meeting. We would ask that you consider that instead of mandating anything, you imagine the need to educate property owners on the value of volunteering their property to a historical landmark designation. In this way, some homeowners who would not have considered their options would have an ability to consider their individual needs and avoid confrontations on property rights. It is my sincere belief the council is committed to good city government, trying hard to make the right decisions and provide a goal to the citizens of Rochester to have an enviable atmosphere of individual, corporate, and government relations. I believe that a yes vote to a landmark property vote would detract from the above stated goals. For the record, we have not been contacted by any developer, builder, or construction firm regarding our property, and we are not investigating options. We would ask that the printed notes from my presentation be included in the official record of the meeting. Thank you. David Stocker.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Can you? I'm done unless you have some questions.
Did any council member have any questions?
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming. You can sit there if you'd like.
Oh, I'd rather sit up there, but what the hell, I'll stay here.
Here you go.
Cuthbertson looks bored, so I'll just take his seat.
Thank you. I'd like to invite anybody else to speak at this time.
You know, in watching this whole process over the last couple of years and reading about it here and there as it went on, you were talking about doing some historical designation with an opt-out. That was always discussed that way. And if some of you got snookered by Mr. Cuthbertson, then admit it and be a man and do what's right. Because it's not right. And yet on the next piece of property, next to this piece of property, what do? You put, and you're the council, you put it there, you put a special projects area where you can build up to 6 stories. And I know you well enough that if you got the option to do it, you do it. So what does that do for this house? How does that benefit it historically? You know, you're not looking at the big picture when you do these things. Like I said, there was a house on Harrison that came down last week. 2 historic houses came down across the street from me with every piece of greenery on the property. And there's nothing built on it yet, and I keep hearing something's going to happen, and maybe it will, maybe it won't. I don't know. But people are getting upset. They're starting to get upset about this stuff. They don't like what they're seeing happen. I had somebody who just built in this town say she wished she hadn't because she doesn't like what she's seeing happen here. It's not what she came to see. It's not what she came for. And so I hope you start looking at this and thinking, you know, how did we become a tree city without a umpteen-page ordinance? You know what? We did it because we like to plant trees, and we took care of it ourselves. We didn't need anybody to tell us what they could do, when they could do it, how they could do it, etc. Those trees that are old, they're old because somebody planted them, not because they just grew. And the houses that are here are still in good shape because somebody takes care of them. But if you start taking them off the market arbitrarily and capriciously, which I like those words, that's terrible to do to anyone. And you know, why aren't we doing it to houses from the 1800s? Why don't you target those? You didn't target those. I mean, any of you live in a house that was from the 1800s? I mean, there's probably only one of you that might. And is that what we're protecting here? I mean, so this is a Depression era home, but these people have to enjoy their property rights and enjoy the ability to sell the house for what the market will bear, not for what you squeeze it down to. And I had somebody, and I wish to God I could remember who told me this in the last couple of years, that the Historical Society wanted that house for a museum. Is there any truth to that? You say no. You don't answer usually, but no, you're shaking your head. Because, and it may just be a wish, somebody wishing, and it got street talk, you know, I understand how that works, but it does make you wonder when you target this house, and that's been out there, does make one wonder.
Thank you, Ms. Douglas.
So
Thank you.
I would hope that you would really take a good hard look at this and don't do this, please.
Thank you.
My name's Kay Dunn, and I am a historical homeowner on 1841 Crooks Road. Maybe you saw the house, know the house. And my daughter owns 2 old homes in Rochester. I'm going to tell you what it's like to be on the historical list. We bought the house. We didn't know it was historical, and the title didn't show it. We found out later it was, but the time had elapsed and we couldn't do anything about it. So we were going to fix the house up, went to the Historical Society, and they said we had to present what our plans were. So we got a architect, MGA from Royal Oak. He did a wonderful job. He kept the historical part of the house, bookended it. He said he's done it 1,000, well, I don't know about 1,000 times, but he did a lot. And I said, if you can make that house that I like it, I'll move there. The plans were beautiful. The house was beautiful. He spent a lot of time. He did all of the blueprints. Went to the Historical Society, and they said he met every criteria, whatever he needed to do for what they wanted. And their thing was, we don't like it. We said, what did we do wrong? They said, you don't understand. We just don't like it. So he went back and he did it all over again. Kind of kept the same face of the house and did it. We had 5 kids, so we didn't need a little tiny house. We wanted a bigger house. Went to the next meeting. Same thing. We don't like it. We don't like it. Went back again next month or 2 months, whatever the next meeting was. He designed another house. This time he attached it to the old house. And I said, he brought it to our work, and he said, we only had a couple hours. I said, it's a beautiful house, but I don't think I want to attach to the other house. He said, they're not going to accept it. So we got there, and they said, okay. And I walked out with him, and I said, I don't want a house attached to an old house. And he said, they approved it. Sued us for another $20,000 because he had to do all this work. I was upset, so I said, just leave the house. I don't care what happens to the house. I don't want to do anything with it anymore. Well, then the vandals started coming, and the graffiti and the, all that stuff. And I walked my dog there a lot. That's about all I used it for. And then we got a lot of calls from the city, the neighbors. Everybody was getting upset because it wasn't taken care of. And well, what could you do? What could you do? And so we're ready to go back to the Historical Society and ask to get it taken off. I have a meeting in a couple weeks. I'm not very optimistic about it. But we've owned it for 17 years. I recently just posted it because the city's telling me that I am the only one allowed in the barn. And so that means the vandals, the kids, are going to come back and break in. And it's let's just say, they killed the dream. They killed the dream. We just, you know what, it's not a good thing. We can't do anything we want with it, the property. I mean, it's very sad, very sad.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Hi, Pat Kane, 817 West 4th Street, Rochester. About 20 years ago, when things really started to evolve and change, city did nothing about the preservation of historic. And it was sad because we rallied them. We were at planning, multiple neighbors spoke up, called City Hall. There was no interest in preservation. So where we lived on 4th Street, we watched the dated bungalows get torn down one by one by one to be replaced with 1,700 square foot houses with everything new and modern. We live in a quadrant that's a hodgepodge. Nick lives around the corner and he'll tell you, we're in a hodgepodge. I happen to live in what could be deemed a historical bungalow. It's 800 and I think 23 or 63 square feet. It's the original footprint. It's the original plaster arched walls. Nothing's been changed on the house except it's been updated as far as plumbing goes, and one window was expanded. We still have the original floor plans for that house, and there's only been 3 owners in its, I think, 99-year history of that house. It's historical by nature, I guess. What we've been told, though, by many people, and people even sitting here, and people on planning and others, is our house is viewed as a tear down. Nobody would buy a small house. When talking to developer friends, we were told it's worthless. I used that and went even to Oakland County and to our insurance about it, because we have to pay homeowners insurance that's equivalent to someone with about a 1,700 square foot house, because the insurers in Michigan don't look at a house that size anymore for what would be deemed reasonable insurance for the square footage. Our problem is this: if historical came to us, what option do we have? Our market is narrowed now if anybody would even keep it the way it is. A developer views it as a tear down to build a house that Rochester wants. $700,000, $800,000, build up 2 stories, do it modern. That's what will probably end up happening. But in the meantime, we have that same nervousness that had someone come and put it on our list. Quite frankly, unless you found a single person or 2 people that said, we like living like this, kind of hemmed in, because you are hemmed in where we live, you don't have anything. And it's a shame. This problem did not start here. This controversy did not start here. It started 20, 25 years ago. And I'll tell you, the developer that really started it here was Smith. He'd probably shoot me because I said his name, but it's the truth. And we watched every house go. And then it just kept kind of catapulting from there. And what we were told by, at that time, administration, is it was taxes and revenue coming in, and houses were in disrepair. You walk a very fine line today. We walk a fine line. We are not contiguous with historic. Historic, I think, now has to be upon that owner to say, I want to preserve as best I can and as best I can afford to. I don't know how hodgepodge our quadrant's going to end up in the rest of its lifetime, because it's evolving. I don't know whether our house will evolve as part of it or just not be part of it. I have no idea where it's going to be a few years from now. But I will say this. There's a fine line that has to be walked between those that care for the preservation and the history. I certainly take that to heart. Then I also have to take to heart in this city right now, because these houses are smaller, they're unique, but they're not contiguous. They're not in districts. And I'll use ours as a prime example. The fine line between property rights and personal rights, which is hard, and creating a nuisance or a hardship for someone else. Because we see that even now with what has happened with building. We see nuisances created by zoning, and we see nuisances created by approval of what's on the books already. What we need to protect overall when we look at the big picture is the property rights someone has on their property, to give them as best we are able to deliver in language, ordinance. However, quality of life remains the same for every tax-paying resident in this city. The ability is here to clean up language, to make it a more clear-cut and more distinct for everybody to understand that. Also to protect their rights from nuisance, and to protect it also from investment and hardship to the best we can. And yes, there's responsibility for homeowners too, but we have an ability before us that we can go forward with it and encourage and perhaps hit that balance for both. And I would just encourage us that as we go forward, we should be working in collaboration and not in controversy.
Thank
This
you, Pam.
problem has been longstanding.
Thank you. Do I have any other comments this evening for this item?
Robert Bloomingdale. I'd like to be known here and for what I'm for, not necessarily what I'm against. So I want to say that I am very much for historic preservation. I am on Rochester Historic Commission. I do get yelled at quite a bit because we do from time to time demolish houses. I tell people there's 3 reasons why we demolish a house. Number 1, it's not structurally sound. If it's not structurally sound, we can't use it. Number 2, it's in the wrong spot on a lot. Sometimes when they were built back in the day, there was not much consideration given to where a driveway could be. You can't move the house, so it has to come down. Number 3 would be that some new homeowners just don't want anything to do with an old structure. If they're going to make an investment, they want a new structure. I'm also very much in favor of property rights. I think that when there's a conflict between historic preservation and individual property rights should prevail. That's just my opinion. I feel that there might be a process that could be considered here that would accomplish both, and that would be that there is an amount of expense required to do the analysis for a house to actually qualify and be on the list. And it seems to me that doing that analysis and spending that money to put it on the list and then asking somebody if they want to opt off of it might not be the best approach. Maybe a better approach would be to say, we're considering your property. If it does pass analysis, if it does qualify, would you be willing to accept the designation? That way we wouldn't get into this situation where we're on a list but really don't want to be on one. I think that the list itself, as I said last time, is somewhat, I'll call it dangerous, because if a developer does look at a property and it is on the list, and as was stated last time, council can place a moratorium on construction on that property, it kind of does what Pat Kane was just saying. It kind of puts a little bit of a cloud on that property in terms of the ability to sell it and develop it.
Thank you. Thank
That's my piece. Thank you.
Any other yes, Councilmember Cuthbertson.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know if there was still
Is there
public
any other comment this evening? I'm going to close the public comment part of the agenda item. If you could just make it quick, that would be great.
Dealing with the master plan and looking at the master plan and what it says, and I think some of this is already in the current zoning ordinance about compatibility. I think you kind of lost that when the master plan was done, and you're not paying enough attention to that. There are areas where you could put overlays to protect smaller houses, which could still have infill in their neighborhoods, but they wouldn't be towering over everything else. And that's in the master plan. It's right there. It's at your fingertips. So if you want to do things to protect some things in the city, there are major things you could do instead of picking on
Thank you,
one
Ms.
person.
Douglas.
Thank you.
I'm going to close this part of the public comment and go to Councilmember Cuthbertson for council deliberation.
Thank you. I have an altogether different idea to suggest this evening. And it grew out of the opinion received from Susan Friedlander. Not that I agree that the exercise of an action not actually impairing a person's property right or constituting at the time per se taking under color of a statutory authorization that allows for a much greater exercise of governmental power as it relates to regulating historic character of a property, that being the Historic District Act. It did occur to me that maybe the easiest thing to do would be to altogether strike the landmark historic property section and also strike the opt-in provision and adopt the Plain Jane Local Historic District Act ordinance in this community. Then the city has the ordinary powers the act conveys. There is no other list. And if there's a petition on an issue, council can hear it And council has the powers the legislature intended with the original act. And then it would require a pretty significant event for the council to act in a way to put a property in a district. So perhaps the legislature had it right. The construct as it was written was to make it an opt-in environment as it relates to the historic district, but to put a circle around a handful of properties that help make up the essential character of this community. Perhaps that was wishful thinking, to think that people might see the wisdom in that. I do appreciate that it's had an effect on people individually, and for that part, I'm sorry that it has taken this toll on you. But the principle is one which I think is worth fighting for, which is the history of our community. And I'd argue Mrs. Douglas made the point. Stuff's coming down, left and right. What are you going to do about it? Well, the legislature wrote the act. We have part of it. Let's just resort to the full act and be done with it. Thank you.
Any other council members' comments? Councilmember Ray.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Staker, for being here. I organized my thoughts here, so I'm just going to go off what I prepared. Our community has a long-standing commitment to honoring the historic value that makes Rochester, Rochester. This is evident from the countless historic plaques that have been previously issued by Rochester's Historical Commission. So much so that there is currently a number of residents patiently waiting for this program to begin again, now that it's been informally adopted by the Historic District Commission. On that note, I would ask that the Historic District Commission and Historical Commission and Administration review this policy and present any suggested revisions to council post haste. In my mind, our Historic Preservation Ordinance is a formal extension of this appreciation for preserving our historical assets, one that gives property owners significant control over their property for many years to come. The Historic District Commission was assigned the monumental task of researching, cataloging, and painstakingly detailing properties that would be ideal candidates to opt in to becoming a historic district. From this list, they were also directed to identify approximately 12 properties deemed to be foundational, known as a landmark property, of which preservation was critical to the history of the city. For their countless hours spent doing so, I'd like to personally thank each member of the Historical District Commission. They've provided us with a wealth of information that would otherwise have likely been lost to time, and given us the foundation required to make meaningful progress in the future. The ordinance, as written, both historic preservation and subsection pertaining to landmark properties, were approved unanimously. Not only did I originally support this ordinance as written, but I also supported the addition of those properties currently deemed as landmark properties, including those that had requested to be excluded. I've listened carefully to the constructive portions of debates made previously as to why they should be excluded, in this case, the property at 1311 North Main. I believe it's healthy to challenge one's own opinion on a matter, either to reaffirm one's belief or to consider if the alternative argument has merit. The landmark property designation was born from a concern that our most precious historical assets were not or would not be protected. Rochester is a desirable community to live and work, and this attraction could easily lay waste to the very roots of our community. I still support the spirit of the landmark property designation and that it was created for the right reasons, but after further consideration, I believe unwanted landmark property designations diminish the good that will come from the greater ordinance. I also believe that the Historic Preservation Ordinance absent properties, although dutifully researched and confirmed worthy of the honor to be considered landmark status, wishing not to be included, does provide the city with a meaningful blueprint to preserve our heritage. Combined with our historic district and historical commissions, we have the resources and institutional knowledge to continue supporting those interested in historic preservation within our community. This includes providing ongoing education to the benefits of becoming a historic district, assisting those that wish to opt in, and celebrating those that participate in such a worthy cause. We must trust our residents to do what is right for themselves, their families, their neighbors, and community when it comes to their private property, even if that means the risk of forever losing a piece of our collective heritage. By constructively working together with the tools at our disposal, we can accomplish the goals originally sought by this ordinance. It's for these reasons that I will vote to exempt 1311 North Main Street from the landmark property designation and support the removal of any other previously designated landmark property that does not wish to be recognized as such. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to follow up, Councilmember Ray. I called David, if I can call you David, up and told him, and after the last meeting, I think I did a pretty good job of explaining why it was important to me, and the ordinance is important to me. But what came to my attention, and after I went home for days, I kept thinking about it, and then I called and spoke to you and made this decision on my own, thinking what's best for the community as a whole. And I think you've done a fantastic job of taking care of that property, and my hope is the next owner feels the same way. I do feel that as a community, we have to better educate the people that here or why we think this is important for the ones that want to opt in. I went to those meetings when they did the presentations and talked to quite a few of the owners, and when they opted in, I was explaining why I thought it was important that they opt in and why it's good for our community. But I do feel that this case here is a hardship that's been created that we didn't intend on creating. So I appreciate the fact that you and I had the conversation. I feel very strongly that this is an important ordinance. I feel very strongly that we have to do a good job, a better job of explaining why historic properties are important in our community and why we need to preserve them. But I just wanted to follow up with Councilmember Ray because it was kind of echoing some of his points. Councilmember Peterson.
Just real quick, I want to thank you as well for coming in. It was a pleasure speaking to you regarding this here and having you come in because this is very private, it's very personal, and I feel for the other people who have come forward as well. I have dealt with many of these properties in real estate, and I know how much of a hardship it is for people, and it is hard that there is no education out there. We are buying sight unseen, and people don't explain this to you. It's not easy to get this information. It's kind of like the trees. People don't know that you can't cut them down. Same thing. There's a lot of education that needs to go up there, and it only helps when people can get engaged. I'm very happy with my colleagues seeing how important it is for the personal property rights to take effect over this, no matter how much. I love historic homes as well, have many friends I've put into those, but it is something that you have to know what you're getting into, and it's not fair to have people just tell you, oh, I don't like it. That's something that I think that's the part I was trying to get to in the past couple of meetings when we discussed this, because that is the issue. You have to have reasons that are solid reasons and really set of guidelines that are for sure for people to be able to make those educated decisions moving forward. So, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you very much. And Councilmember Ray, you did an excellent job of articulating at least what my thoughts are, because it is important that we preserve our heritage, but it's also important that we use our governmental power to protect our private citizens and their property rights. So I would like to move to exempt 1311 Main Street from the landmark property list.
Support.
Do I have a motion by the Mayor Pro Tem, support by Councilmember Peterson. Do I have any other comments this evening? Yes, I'm going to go to Councilmember Bixson, then Councilmember Cuthbertson.
Yes, thank you, and thank you for coming in. I think I wasn't at the last meeting where they had this conversation, but I was at the first one on this conversation. To me, there's 2 points. One, we've talked about this issue for at least 10 years, I mean, a long time, lots of different city council people. And to me, the one thing that was always clear to everybody on the council, to everybody on the historical committee, clear from day one, you did not have to be in this if you didn't want. I mean, that was just the bedrock of all this. I never would have voted for it without it. And to me, to now take private property like this, to me almost would destroy the credibility of the council. We talked about this. the entire time. And the second thing is, as other people said, just private property to me is sacred. That's what we protect. You know, a man's house, a person's house is his castle, all that kind of stuff. So I do not think we should be using government power to subvert that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Cuthbertson.
Couple of things. I find it very difficult to imagine that my colleagues were unable to read the plain language of the ordinance. But that notwithstanding, I guess, you know, it is what it is, as they say. Unanimous vote is hardly snookering someone. But nevertheless, this motion effectively destroys the credibility of the existing ordinance. And so I think as a matter of prudent discussion, if the motion passes, that we should immediately move to repeal the landmark section of the ordinance. And to the extent that we do that, I think that we should undertake, like I said, a full review of the ordinance to say, you know, do we intend this council to have the powers that the legislature conferred in the act, or do we not? And if we're to believe the legal opinion presented, that if we do something other than what's in the act, that somehow it's not prescribed, it's not permitted. And so to that end, I think by calling into question one part of it, we call into question the entirety of the ordinance. And so, you know, I think to vote this evening and maybe, you know, unwind, you know, one other property should not be the end of this discussion. If we're serious about the things that we're saying up here this evening, then a full searching review of what the policy is essential, because not one bit of the historic character of this particular property has been challenged, and yet we're stepping aside from what the plain writing of the ordinance is. Folks, that in and of itself, this community should be very concerned about. The fact that before repealing an ordinance, we are going to vote in a manner which effectively challenges its credibility, which is inconsistent with the ordinance itself, is a real problem. It's a real discipline problem at the city council, and it's a real consistency problem. And it's one that, quite frankly, this council has exhibited more of lately than not, and really is, I think, something to be considered. So I appreciate you know, the remarks that have been made. I don't believe that the burden of disproving the historic character has been adequately undertaken. If somebody had, you know, made a motion this evening to repeal the landmark property section of the ordinance, I feel like I could in good faith support what's being discussed this evening. But that's not the ordinance that's on the books. And if anything, we have a duty to interpret and apply the ordinances as written, rather than making up reasons as we go, however good they may be in our own minds. That departure is of more concern to me than historic preservation in play. This is a high water mark, and I think people would be well to consider that. Thank you.
Councilmember Peterson, then Councilmember Giovanelli.
Since he hasn't spoken yet,
Oh,
do you
yeah.
want him to go first?
Yeah, I'll have you go.
No. Thank you. Going Dutch, right?
No, it's
This is the proverbial no good deed goes unpunished exercise up at council. So how many meetings did we have on the tree? So people in this community take those things seriously, and the only time somebody comes before council is when they're the aggrieved party. But yet when the community as a whole wants the outcome to happen. So we're put into a position where there's absolutely no win here, right? So I feel it feels kind of like the Obamacare debate, right? Just that there's a no-win situation, and there's not enough people with. It's just super frustrating. I personally, listening to the discussion, how it's evolved over the last several meetings. I missed the last one. I had flu, and I apologize. But the language that's in there versus what I'm hearing now is two different things. I'll be honest with you. I don't know what I'm voting for right now. I mean, I know generally the emotional part of what I'm voting for right now, but I don't know what I'm voting for. Am I voting to say that historical preservation is not important in this city, and the stuff that we'd passed before is not good? Then that's fine. Let's just knock them all down and build 6-story houses and be done with it. That's not what I want, but if historical preservation is important in this community, that it is important. But, and I totally get the the private property, interest as well. It's just, given the first time one of these houses comes down, this council chambers is going to be filled with people that are angry that why didn't you stop it? Why didn't you do what you could to try and preserve the fabric and the history of this community? It's going to happen. I may not be on council. My kids may be on council. Somebody else may be here. But it's just sad that we couldn't at least take some sort of a baby step effort to try and at least direct a discussion or help conduct a discussion. The stuff that I've heard tonight and over the course of communications, it's like this draconian, historical committee is going to come and dictate every possible thing. That's not what we passed. I don't know where this is coming from. So I'll be honest, I don't know what I'm voting for tonight. I'm very personally sad about this whole exercise. I thought that we were going down a path that was responsible and had sufficient checks and balances in it. We talked about it ad nauseum up here. We voted unanimously, multiple times on it. So I get it. If nobody wants it, that's fine. But I just want to ask everybody in this room that's here tonight that doesn't want this, when people are coming to council to yell at us because we let one of these properties go down, just can you come back and support us then? Because that's when we're going to need you. Thank you.
Councilmember Peterson.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. A couple of things. Number one, I wasn't on council when all this was voted unanimously, so I just want to make that clear first. Second, I think a lot of this that has come about is there's one residential property, the rest have all been commercial that have been on this list here. That kind of does separate things a little bit. I think overall, it's not about us sitting up here and making a bad decision on something moving forward and not caring about the historical nature of our community. There's been many things that have passed through this community that have hurt, and to the personal degree of how some people feel. But we've heard tonight from a lot of people the feelings of what this means and how it is affected, even from Mr. Bloomingdale, who brought up the fact that people don't want to live in some of the historic homes that we think that are awesome, okay? So we can't stop that. There's a trend going on that we've allowed to take place in this community to where the first-time home buyer homes that everyone was discussing, that, hey, we missed the market, we don't have that market here anymore, that's gone as well. Well, those are all would it be pretty historic as well here pretty soon if they were still here. I think moving forward, what we need to look at is we need to make sure that what's in our ordinance really is thought out fully regarding what we're putting in there. There's so much more to what we have here in our community that has always been focused on regarding the commercial side of it. No one's really taken into account the personal property rights and the personal residences of this community. Those have started coming down from way back almost 10 years ago now, Kathy, when you saw things go down from the parking lot. I think that we have to be very mindful in the direction, and we cannot allow others to go ahead and dictate the personal property rights of these people. And I have to disagree with my council members regarding people dictating what takes place with these, because they do. People are dictating the very nature of what people have done to live in a home and to buy the home that they want, that there's their own dream. So I fully appreciate everybody tonight and for all their thoughts and concerns, but I think that our ordinance was a little far-fetched to begin with without putting enough detail in there to protect personal property rights first and foremost, and then see how it fits in with our community. Because we're never going to lose what we have. We are the first community here in Oakland County, and I think that that's something that we don't even take enough pride in on a regular daily basis, for all the firsts that we've brought here forth in our own community. And you can only be your own good cheerleader. I don't know how we can have so much good going on and then all of a sudden have so much negative controversy come out of this here because it really is a nice double negative for our own community here to not be able to, put things in place and see it as how good it is, like the rest of the world sees it. And on that note, I want to add to the fact, because it comes out of even from the DDA meeting, that's if anyone gets a chance to watch it, I'd like them to pay attention to what Sue Keels from the Royal Park had presented to the DDA, because it actually shows exactly what our community is built on. And it's built on the relationships that are here, and that's what makes us great. And they can take into account everything that's good about it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem, could you?
Yeah, I just want to clarify, and I'm sorry, Councilmember Giovanelli, that you weren't here, because there was a lot of discussion. So if you weren't in that discussion, I know it could be confusing, and it is a sad exercise because we do take great pride in our heritage. However, when we pass this ordinance, as Councilmember Bixson stated, we discussed over and over and over that if someone wanted to opt out, we would not take away that property right privilege. And that's what we're voting on tonight. Because there's things that, because of the roof and all kinds of things that we discussed at the last meeting, I'm not going to get into, that triggers a problem, and they want to be opted out. So I think at this point, I just want to go ahead and take the vote.
I just want to address one thing that this has been really hard for me, because I feel that the ordinance is a good ordinance, and I support the ordinance and I support the list. It was this one property that I had concerns with, and that's why I had to sit on it from the last meeting on why. So I want it to be perfectly clear that it's not like I'm flip-flopping all the time. I don't do that. I explained at the last meeting why I voted to keep these properties in there. This property I felt was a hardship created, and that to me, in my mind, as ever small as it is, was the difference that was significant to me. So, Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Dalton.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Vixen.
Yes.
Cuthbertson.
No.
Giovanelli.
No.
Peterson.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Ray, did you have something?
Oh, I was just going to ask for the motion to be restated before, but I was able to pick up on it.
Okay. Thank you. Next, we have public hearing. We have a public hearing regarding the reprogramming of remaining PY 2015 CDBG funds.
Mayor, I can take that?
Yes, thank you.
All right, so the PY that you're noting is our planning year. And so in planning year 2015, our CDBG dollars, we actually were under budget by $2,781. So what we're asking for and staff's recommending is to have that money placed into our planning year 2017 budget to add those funds into accomplishing the material being placed into the next area.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Do I have anybody to come up and speak for the public hearing regarding the reprogramming of the CDBG funds? Going once, going twice. Any correspondence, Madam Clerk?
No, Your Honor.
So the public hearing is now closed. Council, please.
Make a motion to move as presented.
The funds?
The funds for the planning year 2015 CDBG funds to the 2017.
I have a motion by Councilmember Peterson.
Support.
Support by the Mayor Pro Tem. Any discussion on the motion? Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Dalton.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Vixen.
Yes.
Cuthbertson.
Yes.
Giovanelli.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Next, I have a legislative deliberation, consideration of an ordinance amendment regarding Chapter 34, Article 5, Special Events, second reading and adoption.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Cuthbertson. Support?
Support.
Support by Councilmember Ray. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, the roll.
Dalton.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Vixen.
Yes.
Cuthbertson.
Yes.
Joe Vanelli.
Yes.
Peterson.
No.
Ray.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have receipt of the city budget request clarifications for the proposed draft fiscal year 2017-2018 budget. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. The first three items council has actually discussed previously during our goals and objectives. Those specifically are the non-union pay increase, overall total value of $25,000. The community house improvements, basically those are some immediately necessary improvements at $25,000, and then the request for the police addition at $105,000. To move forward with funding, our final proposed, to move forward with our final proposed 2017-18 budget, staff needs to know if council authorizes any or all of these requests. And then I'll move on to the other ones after.
Okay, so we'll take the first three. Does council have any questions on the non-union pay portion? Yes, Councilmember Cuthbertson.
Only to ask administration to identify the eligible pool for which this allocation is sought. Total of, not the individuals, but the total of the staff.
How many
might
numbers?
be benefited.
9 with the new and then John. So 9 individuals? 9?
9 individuals. Any other questions on this item? Yes, Councilmember Peterson?
No, Madam Mayor.
So we can take them one at a time if you'd like, or I can just go through each one and go back and you can give me your. So one at a time is fine with me. So is council, the pleasure of council to move forward with this item?
Madam Mayor, one question. So that's just for this year only, correct?
It's for the budget 2018 budget request.
Move to approve.
Support.
Councilmember Ray, motion, support by Councilmember Peterson. Do I have discussion on the motion? Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Dalton.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Cuthbertson.
Yes.
Joe Vanelli.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Next is the community house. I also want to just say one thing about this. We are trying to get a meeting together in May to discuss the 3 buildings that the city owns. I know that Megan sent out a doodle calendar request. This is for needed improvements for next year, but at that meeting, we're going to discuss the city's plans moving forward with all of those buildings. So I just want to make that clear from a policy standpoint where we're going to go. So I wanted to include all of you in that and let you know. Mr. City Manager, anything follow up with this item?
Again, these are the many deficiencies. This is just the, I'd almost classify as these are nearing emergency kind of components so that animals aren't getting into the building and that sort of stuff. There is ongoing maintenance, but there is that policy discussion that we're trying to set up that meeting in May.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the $25,000 for the community house.
Do I have support on the motion?
I'll support it, and the reason why I'm supporting this is when we ask for these items that they would be more of on a critical need, and this seems to be critical just to get that gap according to what we're trying to do to put together all of our buildings.
That is exactly what this is. So usually we wait till the water heater's broken and they come and ask for the money. Councilmember Cuthbertson.
Yeah, with respect to the overall city building discussion, let's be clear, we're addressing a situation that has emergencies, but the cost to address those emergencies is one which is, at least in the context of our budget, current budget, manageable. There are other examples of emergencies in city buildings that involve, 10x of what this is, that I fear will probably take a pass on because the number's too big. And so, be prepared for some disparate outcomes here, folks, as it relates to city buildings. I don't like this, but, looking into the future, I don't think we should be, anchoring ourselves to that these are critical emergency needs, because if that's the decision-making standard, we're in for stroking some big checks, folks. So I just want to qualify that. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm not saying I agree with the notion that we're going to deal with the community house, but probably not another building in this community. So I think we need to be, a little more concerned with consistency of action. This one just happens to have a lower price tag, and so I think it'll pass tonight. Thank you.
And also, that's why I want to have this other meeting, so we can start to address those building needs in a more uniform way instead of just piecemealing them together, because that's not the best way to do it. So this one came to us because, from my understanding, the engineers and the Mr. City Manager, if you want to.
Yeah. So basically, in the background behind this item, I want to say I think there's almost 17 different things, from the roof to the creatures, potentially breaching into the building. So in the past, we've had emergencies that the water heater has broken. We've had doors that are falling off. This is the stopgap measure, really, at this point, so that we could fix these minor in cost items, so that council can have that bigger conversation in May.
Okay, so any other questions on this one? Yes, Councilmember Cuthbertson.
Is there any requirement that this has to be decided before we take a larger decision in May?
To include it in this budget, you can always do a budget amendment.
Would you prefer that? I mean, I'm more than happy to wait.
Yeah, look, I'm not opposed to doing these things.
Yes.
What I'm concerned about is, is this as high of a priority as another building? And understanding what our resource bandwidth is and making a better decision within the context of that, I would be more comfortable with that, candidly.
So we have a motion on the floor. Would we like to, Howard?
You make from the seconder can withdraw it, or you can vote it down, whatever you like.
I mean, if you feel like we need to have a bigger discussion, I just don't want to, when I heard at the last goals and objectives that we were having issues with creatures coming into and getting, insulation and all that kind of issue. I mean, if we're going to be expedient and have those discussions, but no, I don't want squirrels. And I mean, I know the damage that they do. And if they're already in the building, I want it to be taken care of before. That's why I was told that we have an emergency kind of situation that's critical. If we don't feel like it's, all I can do is go from what.
Yep, Mr. City Manager, would you say this is critical, or could it possibly wait till May without any anything terrible happening?
I think it could wait. Again, I don't know, the damage, from squirrels, raccoons, and other things. I'm not going to be able to predict that. So, I think if things move, if things move, quickly in May and we have some decisions, then, it can be added on as a budget amendment. Still, since that's going to be, for the funding that starts July 1.
Okay, that would be fine if that.
Yeah, that's actually an important point. Is none of this money can be appropriated until July anyway.
Yes.
So.
Okay. So do we have the motion removed? I mean, how do
I'll remove the motion.
Peterson, you made the motion.
Oh, I know. I'm
sorry.
not comfortable with it only because of the fact that, what the building is used for to the community. I don't want, 2 months, there can be a lot of more damage that's going to cost more money. If this is a simple fix to help until then.
I don't know if it's a simple fix,
Well,
and we
it's-
can't
it's- we're
we
allocating
can't spend the money, though.
Right, you can't do it until then.
Till June anyway.
I mean, the other option would be to approve it, and then I'll bring it back for any of those sort of things. So it's baked into the budget, and then you guys, before we spend the money, a budget is just that. It's a budget document. So it's up to you.
Well,
Councilmember, just a second, Councilmember Giovanelli.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm looking at these requests, and I take it at its face that the FYE on the top of the budget form indicates which budget year this is going to fall in. The non-union wage increase was for 2018 budget. This one is for 2017 budget, so that'd be an amendment to the current budget.
Yeah, I apologize. I'll have to talk with finance. When they updated it, I'm sure they took last year's form because some of these are the same issues that our engineers pointed out last
So this
year.
is all three of these items are 2018 budget?
Correct.
Should be, yes.
Yes.
But we haven't, okay.
Okay.
For
Budget,
fiscal,
amending a budget we haven't even passed yet.
Yeah.
Just checking.
Good ICPA.
Whatever.
So the maker of the motion, you want to keep the motion on the floor to approve this?
Well, not if it's not supposed to be in this.
Till July anyway.
Until
Yeah,
July,
July, yeah.
then, but my question then, Madam Mayor, is who's going, how are they going to have the money and funds to take care of the building in the meantime?
Well, it's not for that budget.
Well, I mean, I know,
Yeah.
but if there's
Go
still an
ahead.
issue going on.
we continue with our current funds to do what we can. Looking at these, this would allow for these issues to be addressed as of July 1st. Which, again, if you meet in May, you can still do.
So, did you want to?
Well,
table
I know,
this?
but if it's bad now,
I know,
just
but
who's going to
It's
fix
the
it?
18th
Then,
anyway,
okay,
so just-
that's fine then.
You know.
Okay, so you're willing to withdraw the motion?
I'll withdraw the motion,
Motion.
still
Thank you.
questioning.
Yeah. All right, next is police addition. This is the police garage and carport area. Mr. City Manager.
Again, as you just noted, this is the final component to close off the north carport and garage area. The garage was originally built in 2012-13. It has reached its capacity. This would extend over to the west current part over the concrete pad and replace two covered spots, or it would provide two covered spots by a new garage. We've estimated the total cost at $105.
Mayor Pro Tem, you had some questions on this.
I did. Looking at this, as a critical need versus not, I do have some questions on it. So it's in this piece, it says that the garage was not built because we did not have an ATV, and then the K-9 vehicle. So what I think might be helpful in the future is when we're getting some of these vehicles that this is baked in to the cost if we're buying another vehicle and we don't have a place to store it, then that should be baked into it. But if I could ask the chief, what kind of vehicle repairs are we doing currently in these garage spaces?
We have a lot of technology in our vehicles, and so there's oftentimes when we're working on computers, laptops, in-car videos, adjusting equipment that's in the cars, tightening loose things that we can take care of in the garage on our own and not lose the vehicle to a repair facility. Is what happens in that building. The other thing that we would like to be able to do better is when we have to process a car for evidence, where we're able to bring that car in. Right now, based on the facility that we originally did, it's honestly cramped, and enclosing the other two-spot carport would give us a better facility to do that, and would just improve our operations.
So it's $100,000. So I was hoping that we'd have like a drawing instead of just like a picture. So what my question is, so you said the new garage. So it's not this part. You're just actually covering this part of
So what we would do is enclose the part that says new garage, and then the carport would be extended over to the open area.
So you're putting a carport here.
Yep.
This one is unchanged.
That's unchanged. Correct.
It just seems $105,000 to cover for a two-car garage, and maybe there's something I'm missing, but that just seems expensive. So the ATV that we're storing, what is that? What ATV is that we're storing that you don't have storage for?
Well, we do have storage for it. We do is we store it in the parking garage in the winter months. We keep it in the evidence garage in the summer months. So in order for us to put something else in there, it's moving one. It's It's like at your house when we have the 3 cars for our kids, we have to jostle the cars around to get them all in the right order. So if we have a vehicle that we need to work on, if we have a vehicle that we want to put in the evidence garage and secure it, we have to, and generally when those are happening, those are busy scenes. And then instead of being able to just open the garage door and have the record driver back that car in, we have to have someone come back to the station, pull out the ATV, put that car in, find another location for the ATV for that immediate situation, and then we can go about our business. So again, is this an essential item? No. Is it something that will make us more efficient and provide better service? Yes.
Okay. So you're saying at this point it's not critical, it's just more of something that would be convenient and make it more time effective, efficient.
Yes.
Efficiency.
Yes.
So the $100,000 is not kind of broken out. That just seems a lot to cover this 2 new. Is there something specific that makes the price go higher?
We asked the original builder to provide us an estimate, understanding that they would know the building and the facility better than anyone else, and that was the estimate that was returned.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Bixon.
Yes. I think my pro-police credentials are in order on this council over the last number of years, but this really does seem like a reach to me. It seems like we get a new vehicle, then we need a new carport, and then we get another dog, and we need another carport and stuff. So, yeah, I think it's probably nice to have, but it doesn't seem critical to me in a time when we've heard tonight that there's a lot of critical issues and things. So it makes it a little harder for me to support this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Ray.
Just a question. So the $105,000 was provided by the original builder.
That's correct.
This is something that would go out to bid, we'd RFP, and then we could, right?
That is correct.
Or once we gave approval to this, not to talk through you, Chief, but Chief would have approval to go with whatever.
Right, if we received we would draw up the plans and do a request for proposal, receive proposals, it would come back to council. Now, for approval, so if somebody came in and it was $70,000, we'd be making a recommendation long as they were the lowest qualified bidder.
Okay.
To submitting this.
So it still comes back to approval
Correct.
from council before it.
Yep.
Okay.
Councilmember Cuthbertson, then Councilmember Giovanelli.
Facilities discussion, May 10th.
Okay.
It seems to me
yeah,
that,
I was
that
gonna-
this is a
that was
part
on my-
of this general subject.
Yes.
Okay, this is something that's been requested. Where does it fit in the relative priority scheme? What are the total resources available for the municipal buildings? Let's make a contextual decision. For my part, but
That's what I was going to ask for, too. Councilmember Giovanelli.
I don't need to say anything.
It's kinda like
It's
the-
on the list.
yes.
Chief brought this to us before.
I know.
And we're always, cognizant of the needs and making
Yep.
sure that our guys and gals have the absolute best to do their jobs. So we will address this in due course. And I took it last time as a need, and it's still the case. And I'm supportive of it as long as it meets with the historical district. No, I'm kidding.
Levity, we need it.
Too soon?
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
No, Chief, I just wanted to say it was really nice to read that our police dog did his first case that I read about in the paper. It was awesome.
Oh, yep, thank you.
All right, emergency communication, I'm sorry, anyone, emergency communication?
Yep. The next item is a request for emergency alert solution. This software was discussed last year, but the with the recent power outage, highlighted how this software could have allowed our staff to communicate better with the public and internally. There are several different vendors. Our police and fire, along with administration, have looked at a couple of them. All of them are in the same, pretty close range, about $6,400 to $6,500. So we're making a request. With the power outage, this would allow a robocall, text message, email, pushing out through our website. And for those that still have landlines, it would actually, do that voicemail message as well. Happy to answer
Councilmember Ray.
Thank you. On this, just as you were reading that, it just occurred to me. So, Rochester Community Schools has some kind of similar service because we've gotten phone calls because of the snow warning.
Yep.
Is there any opportunity for us to jump on like their contract or try and get some competitive pricing to?
We can look at competitive pricing. This is the one that I included in the back. Actually, is one of the more commonly used ones by the school.
Okay.
I think we would look to either use the same system or the same system that's some of our neighbors have. I know the police departments. I believe it's Nixle or Code Red or a few of the other companies. So we'd want it to be as user friendly, and if people have already opted in for the school component, to allow us. The vendors typically aren't allowing us to just purchase more time within the system. This is broken out, per message, by typically the size of the community. So we wouldn't necessarily be able to piggyback on the school system to allow us to send something out. This system would allow the police, fire, or administration basically to use either an app to send out or a web-based recorded message to go out. We definitely could explore, though, if any of the vendors, with the school or anything, would allow us either a discount or to piggyback on a contract. We can always ask those questions.
Just in the spirit of the prior two sister city meetings, if there was an opportunity that, the numbers looked any different because, we said our big brother, the Rochester Community Schools, or a client, why don't you give us that deal? If not, fine.
Any other comments on this one or questions? Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
Excuse me. So I see I love the idea of being able to text, but email, because our server was down, emails would have done this no good over this last situation of loss of power. Does this help us in any way with that email piece of it, or is it just?
No, it would have. Internally, this would have allowed us to actually communicate with our staff or with the elected officials. It's a cloud-based system, where ours was actually hosted internally, so this would have actually allowed us to have some communication abilities as well.
Okay, that's really nice. And I agree with Councilmember Ray. If there's anything we can do to bring that budget a little bit tighter, that would be great. But I think that this would be really helpful.
Yep.
So do we have a motion for this?
Move it forward?
Yeah, you don't need, we just.
Yes, please.
Yes.
We don't have one yet.
Yeah, okay. So Council, do I have a motion?
Motion to move forward with the emergency communications software.
Motion by Councilmember Peterson. Do I have support on the motion? Joe Vanelli. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Selden?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Vixen?
Yes.
Cuthbertson?
Yes.
Joe Vanelli?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
Next is the Fire Association increase. Mr. City Manager.
Yeah, the Fire Association increase is really a clarification. I felt it important to note that the pay scale would be adjusting. For example, a firefighter currently is at $14. Through this increase, that would go up to $14.45. For the high-level position, our officer EMT, currently at $15, that would go up to $16.33. The fire chief did an extensive analysis that's in the back here. You see his draft pay scale and explained the reasoning and justification for each of the 5 different categories. Either the chief or myself are happy to answer any questions. I will note this is already was noted in the current proposed budget, so there is not an additional $25,000 that's being requested. And again, it's a little hard to say, as our department is a volunteer department. If we have some less calls, we might not incur that full $25,000 cost. However, looking at the specific amount, if we had the same amount of calls as we had last year to this year, or the proposed year, we're estimating the cost to be about $25,000, and that's why I wanted to note it for council.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah. Well, our calls seem to be going up at a percent. So what is that percent over the last 3 years? Has our call rate? I know that a lot of people are demanding our services?
Yeah, I think the chief can best answer that question.
Okay. I have a couple other questions.
Absolutely.
The best thing would be to do is for people to stop getting old.
I wish
I wish we
could you
Me
help
too.
me with that?
We've seen an
That's a-
increase. We're averaging someplace between a 7 to 9% increase year over year. This year so far, we're up about 8% year
Okay.
over year.
So is that baked into this?
Yes.
It is.
Okay. So Chief, while you're here, so I did a little bit of research and really trying to understand where because the U.S. national average seems to be significantly different than what we have here. Is this association that's looking for the increase, or this is just something that you're proposing?
So, just a little bit history for most of you who already know, but the city of Rochester has an association that provides fire protection. The city council or the city provides one check to the association, and the association then pays the volunteers. This is my recommendation to go ahead and increase the pay for the volunteers. And what I try to take a look at is to see where we're at in the area in regards to our competition. And we typically average a little bit below average as far as where we're at on the pay scale.
Okay, so when I was doing my research on U.S. average, and there was a couple other ones, the EMT, the salary.com, they were basically putting EMTs as EMTB, which would be basic, EMT intermediate, and EMTP, which is paramedic.
Correct.
And so then they were also doing a scale according to experience. So if they had experience of 20 years or more, or 5 to 9 years. So basically and maybe my research is incorrect, but at the salary.com, like the basic EMT was $975 to $1,267. I'm not sure if these are correct or not. But so can you tell me a little bit about the difference between the EMT basic, EMT intermediate, and EMT paramedic? Because I see we have two of those, the basic and the paramedic. And actually some of those, like the paramedic, if they had experience, would be like $17 if they were on the average, would actually be higher than we're having here if they had that kind of experience behind them. And then if they were rookies, it would go down to even like $11.62 is what they had. So are we doing any kind of, I don't see that scale here. Are we just?
So we excuse me, I'm recovering and you're getting it, I think.
It's
So I
just passing
apologize for
around.
that.
I know, I'm
Yeah.
trying not to. I'm trying not to, yes.
So to go ahead and answer your question is when you go online and you take a look at some of the national averages, they're a little bit misleading. Some of the national averages are based on ambulance companies or those types of things that are providing a service to where somebody's working a full shift of normally 12 or 24 hours. With those full-time rates, they're also receiving benefits and those things. Keep in mind that we have paid-on-call volunteers who come to the station when needed and when we summon them. We've never taken a look at, in regards to paying for time on the job. We've always taken a look in the 120-some year history of the fire department just to have a standard pay. This is the first year that I'm proposing as the chief to take a look at some delineation between the classifications. If you remember last time that we did the raise back in 13-14, we gave a flat raise across the table without any consideration for education. So this year, or this time, I'm proposing that we give some credit for that, but I did not calculate any credit for years of experience on the job.
So with the 50-cent premium, let's just go with the paramedic,
Yep.
with the 50% premium for education. So basically what you're saying is that baked into these numbers currently?
Yes, so what I tried to go ahead and do to take the $25,000 that I originally put in the budget to go ahead and give council some of the inner ideas of where I was thinking when I went ahead and put that number in. Not only did I consider the potential increase of call volume, I also went ahead and put into it the delineation of the rates based on the experience and the education. And so if you take a look at the proposed far right-hand column, that's what I would propose the new rates being. and the columns to the left of that are kind of how I got to that point.
Okay. And then the EMT officer, how many people are they responsible for?
Well, the EMT officer, they're responsible for assisting in operation of the fire department. And currently I have 3 officers who are officer EMTs.
Okay, and those are they full-time jobs?
No, remember, we only have 4 full-time firefighters.
Okay.
Everybody else is paid on call.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Councilmember Peterson, did you have something?
Oh, I just wanted to move it to approval. I just think that, 5,000 for a school crossing guard and this small increase in pay for these people who protect us every day, I think is something that I don't really need to further discuss.
Well, it's already in the budget, so basically,
Support.
this is a clarification.
Yes, yeah.
So everyone's nodding their head, so we're in good shape.
Any
Thank
other
you, Chief.
questions, Mayor?
No, thank
Okay,
you so
thank
much.
you.
So we already took care of the favorite one for the night, the school crossing guard. Now, next we move to reports and regular business. Building department discussion. Mr. Banda.
Thank
you,
Mayor.
Mayor.
Yeah, before if I could
Yes.
if I can set up, Nick. Deputy Manager Banda and staff have evaluated enhancing and streamlining this function. Nick's going to explain their thoughts, both his and staff, and note the increased activities as they occur. So will the fees to pay for those additional activities. So Nick can kind of go into the ins and outs of that.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Over the last couple of years, I know in talking with you individually, collectively, you've pretty much said, hey, how's it going? And when I first came here, it's almost over 8 years, almost 8 years now. The first day I started, Ed Allward retired. And then Ed, rest in peace, he was a great man. And he was the building official here for a long time. So this is nothing unusual, but in the period since then, we were really tightening our belt. So we found a way with our 2 existing inspectors with their unique sets of abilities to have them do 5 jobs for 2 people. And it's been without hitch, in my opinion. It's going great. But many communities have a building official, a deputy building official, then all the inspectors and plan reviewers. And I don't want to go over the whole report, but most cities can't afford that anyway. So there's some hybrids, right? So there's a company called Safe Build, and other communities actually rent building inspectors mostly, and plan reviewers and staff in the office. I outlined what our existing staffing is. Again, we're lucky to have 2 gentlemen that have, one has 3 credentials and one has 2. So we have mechanical and plumbing with Mr. Gerds, and Mr. Brown's a building official certified electrical inspector and building inspector. It's great. I mean, we are as efficient as possible, and we are economically a win for us. The good news is, in this past year and the years to come, it appears that money should not be an issue on what direction the council would like to give to us. Our permits are not high. I know I threw something at you at goals and objectives about one permit that was $250,000. It ends up being $350,000. That's the formula. That is standard. We are still below the 50% rate of all other communities on our rates for building permits. And mechanical and electrical, we're reasonable. We've never got a complaint. That's just the price of doing business. When you build a $33 million building, that's what they expect to pay. They know that going in. We don't have any issues. So that money comes into the general fund, but it's supposed to be directed towards the building department. You've heard us talk about before that there's a weird part of the state law that says you can account over decades for how you have spent your building department funds, either to the plus or to the minus. And obviously, over all the years, with all the activity, Rochester was the general fund was subsidizing the building department. At the end of this year, that will not take place anymore. We'll be at even or have a little bit extra money. Again, you can't just take that money and go spend it on roads, or you can't spend it on things that are in the regular general fund. They're supposed to be directed towards the building department. The way you do that is you cross-charge everything you can legally, obviously, and that's office space and computers and mileage and anything you have to do. And that's the auditor looks at all that and shows you at the end of the year you're in a deficit or you're in a plus. And we haven't been in a plus until probably this year. So If the direction would be that you're worried or you have concerns about a full-time building official here, we can certainly go that route. We could go out to the public and see it we can go out and look for a full-time building official. We could reevaluate what the inspectors are doing now. We have an hourly. Mr. Brown's paid hourly, which is obviously to our advantage. Mr. Gurge is paid a percentage of the fee, so we'd have to reevaluate that. But it shouldn't be a fiscal decision. The reason I think this was brought up now was it would impact the budget if we hire another person. It would be a full-time person with benefits, and obviously we would go with the new structure of employees where it's not a legacy cost, it's a defined contribution, things like that. So we don't have to worry about that we're looking down the line at a huge legacy cost. So we're just looking for a little direction. We're operating quite efficiently. We know there's extra work coming up. We'd be glad to handle it any way that you would all like to direct us.
Okay, so I'm going to go to Councilmember Cuthbertson and Councilmember Giovanelli.
Thank you. So I have the pleasure and privilege of serving on the Planning Commission as well as the City Council, and have, over the last 2 years seen, the significant uptick in development proposals. I've also heard about, to a lesser extent, what's happening on the infill side, and the good, the bad, the ugly. It's a rough and tumble world. It is one that's fraught with competing property interests, the right of the person who lives next door to a construction site versus the construction site. In looking at how development, code enforcement, and infill housing, neighborhood impact is addressed, I think some time ago I whiteboarded this, I think with Manager Vitrino at the time, and there are, just going through it quickly, something like 20 plus different touch points between departments, officers, and commissions. So ZBA, Planning Commission, City Attorney, Fire Department, Building Department, City Manager. There's a host of of processes that touch each other. It is a spider web in some ways. Today, we do not have the full-time spider, right, managing the web. And it's as simple of an analogy as I could put forward this evening. I'm not calling into question anybody's, individual proclivities or any kind of, anything about their personality. The point is that we need somebody to manage all of these things that are happening, knowing that there's going to be a lot more in play. And to my eye, being able to take, what has been, captained by, part-time resources and making one of them a full-time resource, drawing on building department-generated revenues, so none of this touches the general fund, understanding that if there is another downturn, that this is an area we might look to maybe move back to the model that we had. But I do think that this is something that is needed as a matter of growing and improving, and that always is to be encouraged. I think that the individuals involved, this is by no means in any way a criticism of their fine work, but I think it's time for us to grow this function a little bit without landing in the general fund and without costing, taxpayers, the existing taxpayers, money. So, for me, if we can get a job posting and a body of candidates at a range that we think is appropriate, we can kind of look at the credentials these people have and say, okay, for the money we're willing to allocate incrementally above what we're paying, what people are we attracting? And do we think that person is capable of helping to coordinate all of these different functions. And so to me, that would be a litmus test of, okay, is our head in the right place on where we're interested in taking this?
Thank you. Councilmember Giovanelli.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, I mean, my first reaction is to not add head count, just to, because we've got so many competing interests for money, and to throw another body at it. In this particular situation, though, I understand. So, this was a much easier decision when Ed Elwood was around before, because we were building out the east area. There was tons of houses going on. I mean, it was a slam dunk. This one I hate to say it's the death by 1,000 paper cuts for the administration, everybody jumping in there. So I can understand the need for a master of ceremonies, if you will, to kind of guide this process. The problem so my first reaction is, you know what, it's working now. You know, we're bubble gum and duct tape, and it's fine. Everybody's getting taken care of. We got a great reputation within all the builders, as far as I know, that everybody's super happy with how easy it is to do business with the city. That said, you're one ball drop away from something bad happening, right? So, and it's unfair that everybody involves number one duty in their job description is other duties as assigned. I'm happy to look at it. If it's fully paid for by fees and it's not adding to general fund, although it's outflow that we would normally have to offset other things, right? It's still money out the door. But I fear, I don't know, I'd like to get a report back of how much is it going to cost? Because in my head I'm thinking, well, geez, here we go. It's going to be, a very substantial position, right? But I don't want that one ball drop for us, something bad to happen and us to get sued or whatever, and it'd be would you, could you should have done it. So happy to look at it. I just my first reaction is to let's just do what we're doing, but this one is a little bit different, I think.
Councilmember Peterson.
Yes, Madam Mayor, thank you. I kind of feel the same way. I've been in many municipalities every day, and I know that not everybody has full-time inspectors there, and they're only working certain hours. I only would like a checks and balances for us, and if we have one in place and it's working, then I see that it would be good the way it is. I think that we kind of missed the boat on the, onset of having all this additional, building come into town without having a full-time inspector, and if we handled it and everything has been going well, then I don't want to see wasted money, going into something full-time. I guess my other concern is if people are aging in that field right now, I do think it's something to look at then at that level, to maybe bring in somebody who is a part-time to work with and get acclimated with our community, and then be able to maybe fill those shoes down the road. And I think that would be a lot more sensible to do financially for us. And if we have the money and the funds through the permits and such, that I think that might be a good way to go.
Thank you. I do think this is something, being on planning, and I know where Councilmember Cuthbertson's going to, also walking around taking pictures of stuff that's going on with the infill. To me, and I'm constantly telling Councilmember Cuthbertson at the Planning Commission meetings, I see a need for a central person. I do see that. We'd have to see what it looks like, cost, of course, all the other components of that. But I can see where that might be something that is definitely worth looking at. And I also know there's some big stuff coming down, down the line. And my concern is we don't want to end up on the back end of that. I'd rather be proactive on the front and say, hey, what's this look like? Can we fund it out of that area? And, Councilmember Peterson brings up a good point. Maybe there's someone in their career stage where they'd be willing to do something like this, and then that gets us over this hump. So, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. We're 3.8 square miles, but there's a lot of activity. So there's a lot of things that go on, and our community is going to continue to change. However, I really want to look at what the analysis of how this affects the fire department, because they do the business licenses, the rental, the alarm registration, all of that stuff. How does this, all play into this position? And then we have and one full-time clerk. We have 2 part-time inspectors, and I know that Like with your position, Nick, we share you with the DDA. Maybe there's something that can be shared in that position. I don't know what the fee structure may look like. Like the fees, like when you say you can, cross-charge a square footage, well, that's good, but it's got to come from somewhere, so we have to bump somebody up, and if it's the average homeowner that's trying to replace a water heater, not crazy about that. If it's a big contractor that's trying to do something, then maybe we can look at that, because we have that office. We've had that office forever, and it's probably not going to change. We're not going to add anything to that. But if you can compensate that, I just don't know if we at this time really should be adding another head count for full benefits. So I think we really need to analyze if it's something that you really think that we need, because I don't know I can't tell from this.
I was remaining neutral.
So, I really can't tell. If it's something.
I think the city manager has
Okay.
I think what I'm hearing is, or consensus from council is, you guys would like a report. Let me add, options for a part-time kind of grow-in position, a full-time, and then potentially contracted out. So they would come back to council with all three.
Okay.
A contract would not have the additional headcount, would allow us to flex up and down. The part-time kind of grow-in, as we have, generational changes as people kind of come in and out, we could grow somebody, and the full-time would have that headcount. So I'll work with Nick and our staff, and we'll come back with a report and the cost for all three of those options, unless there's anything I'm missing.
Well, Councilmember Cuthbertson.
Again, the concept here is not full-time inspectors.
Yeah.
It is a coordinator who probably is the building official, right? And understand building department resources, building fees, permit fees cannot be spent outside of that function. So it's not an allocation of otherwise available resources. The other thing is that I think when Nick was talking about cross-charging was the function within City Hall, right, is generally speaking paid for by the general fund, to the extent that we have a building official in there. We can properly allocate a portion of that overhead expense that relates to the building department, as it were, to take some of the money out of the building fee fund and put it into the general fund, specifically. And so the thing, whether it's full-time or contracted, the thing is a different position than an administrative non-union, typical non-union employee due to the revenue source. So just a little clarification.
Okay. Thank you. Next, we'll move on to item B, receipt of an update regarding the Bicentennial Plaza. Mr. City Manager.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. On this item, unfortunately, as the city got into the details of this project, we noted some unstable soils, some geotech work that was needed, along with a few other items. That has increased the cost from $190,000 to just under $273,000. There has been some fundraising, so that amount is a little less. Nick has actually drafted the memo that's in your packet, and he's going to walk through a few of those items, and then I'm happy to add some additional comments.
Council, we're kind of at the point of no return. We're shooting for August 15th for the unveiling of the structure. We've talked about this before. We've committed to the project. The Noman's being put together in a mill down in Detroit, in a building. The next step is to start demolition of the ground, take the one tree down, and get moving forward here. We can't push much further, and that's why we're having this report tonight. So the way to solve this is that we would loan the City Beautiful Commissioner, loan ourselves technically.
Loan ourselves.
To be honest with you. They don't have a budget technically. The projected overage, which is $67,015. Every day another dollar comes in on fundraising, then that number goes down. Obviously, the goal always has been to get it under the $190,000. If you sold every single thing that's out there today, you could reach this goal. it doesn't mean that there aren't people that want to just donate to the project itself. And we've got feelers out to a lot of folks that expressed interest. We know we're going to sell the decade stones and the bricks and all that good stuff. So we need a decision to move forward. There is an option if we said we're not loaning the money, we're going to wait until the money comes in. That's fine, and they'll have to proceed that way. But then you will not hit August 15th. I can guarantee you that, because this literally has to get going in the next couple of weeks to meet the project. So unfortunate. Bad soils are pretty common these days, and should we have known about it? Probably, but we are where we are. So we're looking for guidance from council.
I just want to state from being on City Beautiful, I met at the last meeting and we came up with the letter that is in your packet. I just want to remind council that City Beautiful has no budget and we're lending ourselves this money. I want to be perfectly upfront and clear and transparent in this. They have been behind this. They're working hard on that fundraiser with Christie has stepped up the barn dance. They're doing a silent auction. They've been making phone calls. They're out working hard. But the buck stops here with us. We have to either say we're going to do this project or not say we're going to do this project. They have made a commitment of 150% to get behind working with this project from day one. But they don't have any money. They don't have a budget. So it is we have to decide as a council what we're going to do to bridge this gap. That's all I'm going to say. So, Mr. City Manager.
The two items really then before you are to loan ourselves and do this budget adjustment. And as the money comes in from the fundraising, it would reduce that amount. Or basically we would set aside over probably at our public works facility the stones as they come in, as we have a contract for them, as well as the gnomon. That's what I really see for your discussion and decision tonight.
Councilmember Giovanelli.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Is this capital or general fund?
Capital.
Okay. What are the sunk costs to date?
87,000.
I was going to say it was just under 90. Yeah.
So we're entering the third trimester, basically.
And basically, so everybody's clear, that money was spent because it was approved, the project as is, and all of that money is in the budget.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
What I'm getting at, though, is if we say no,
Yes.
you're walking away from sunk cost of $90,000. So it's
and it would slightly go. I think it would go up to 115 by the time we pay out for the completion of the note. Correct.
Yeah.
For the contractual obligated items.
Councilmember Cuthbertson.
Having noted that, the idea of putting the stuff in storage for a bicentennial marker that you're not going to unveil at your bicentennial kind of seems.
You could say for the tricentennial.
I guess, or the Susquehanna
Pet company.
Nobody likes where this is. There are people who don't like the project to begin with. But as a practical matter, I have confidence in the City Beautiful Committee that they're going to be able to bridge the gap here with our interim support. We did something similar with the DDA not too many years ago, and while I'm not happy about a $67,000 scope creep, to walk away on over $100,000 to date and to not do this for the bicentennial just seemed like, to borrow a phrase from earlier, cut off our nose to spite our face here. So I'm inclined to support it, and I'd be happy to make a motion to make a budget amendment to loan the $67,015 as an internal matter, an internal budgeting compliance matter. I mean, there's no promissory note here. There's nothing of the sort. But to unfortunately proceed with the project with this adjustment.
Thank you. Do I have support on the motion? Councilmember Giovanelli. Councilmember Peterson.
Yes, Madam Mayor, thank you. First, in regards to the letter that was written to City Council, I would like to state for the record, for the official record as well, that as it's stated that sitting here as a City Council member who voted unanimously to submit the Sundial project for consideration, like that stated that was this project that has come before City Council is not what I voted on while I was on City Beautiful. It has taken many shapes and sizes since that point in time, so I do want that noted. I'd also like to note that the vote of City Council on November 9th was unanimous. I was not here and did not support this. In light of taking council,
Excuse me, I don't think I supported it either.
Well, I can go back. I know that Ms. Oates went back and looked at the motion in the record before she put it in the letter. I
Okay,
can
so
have her go
some
back.
original thing I supported, but not the final vote on the project.
I can have her go back and then
Please do,
have it noted.
'cause-
Absolutely. That's not a problem.
Or check the minutes of the city council meeting.
Councilmember Peterson.
Sorry.
Yeah,
excuse
no, that's okay, that's fine. I just wanted to finish. And upon taking office, and from the very beginning, I have voted no for this because this money was allocated out of the budget before we actually voted on the full budget. And so I did not think that that was appropriate at that time, and I've stated that before. I will restate that only because of the fact that we have come across many issues that we have within our community now that we need tax dollars for, and I do not want to see any tax dollars wasted. Not that I don't care about the bicentennial and don't care about our community, I do, but we have to be very mindful, because this is let's see, if it's $1 million to do a road and this is almost $300,000, I think everyone understands what my point is. So, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this? Councilmember Pixon.
Yeah. When it first came up, it seemed like a good idea. I voted against it because I thought it was way too expensive. We had the vote, I was in the minority. That's how it works on this council, so it was fine. Well, now it's, over budget. It's nobody's fault, but it's didn't get done right. Where does this stop? I mean, we're going to lend ourselves money and cover it that way, and we're going to fundraise. Well, does anybody really think we're going to raise that money? I mean, I know this City Beautiful works hard and is a great committee. That's really hard to raise that kind of money. And we just act like, oh, well, it's just going to get raised and stuff. So where does it stop? So now the next thing, where does this stop? And we just, we get something and we're just going to do it, and the city's just going to cover everything, and, bite off your nose to spite your face, where you could say it's good money after bad. So I will vote against it. I assume it will pass, but it just, it gets to the point where it just gets outrageous. I think the community is not for this now. And what turned out to be a good idea has turned into to me, what I hear around town, a controversial, somewhat negative thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Pixon. Mayor Pro Tem.
This is so tough, because this comes from capital. This could pay half of the police department garage. But then we have the gnome and everything else just sitting in for what would be the next tricentennial. So they would have half of it paid. I mean, it's so frustrating. And, part of it is, as a quality manager, you never blame the person, you blame the system. So something happened in the system, and I don't know what that is, but we have to make sure that part of it, that piece of it, gets taken care of, because when there's a failure, it's a system failure. So something happened in that system. I still don't even know where to go with this, because it's just like me telling Jeff, I already spent $100 on this dress. It's going to cost you $100 more because it has like a little rip or something in it. So, I mean, this is just such a hard bullet to bite at this time in our budget process.
I understand, but I couldn't wait. I mean, I could have put this off, but the minute they had the number, I said I wanted it on a council meeting. You know,
Makes sense.
and we can't pretend, and we can't say, well, they'll eventually pay us back, because that makes no sense. They're not a committee that has a budget, so we have to be the ones that make this tough decision moving forward, and hope. But if it doesn't get done, the buck still stops with us, and there's no way around it, and that's the way it goes. Councilmember Giovanelli.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This evening started off with such promise. Joy in the air, and it's just all the air's got sucked out of the room in the last hour. You know, when we talked about this before, you know, by the grace of God, we're sitting up here during our bicentennial. We were having to make decisions that typically, I don't think, maybe, but I'm venturing to guess if this is a normal year and we had this in the budget, it would not be on. It would not even be on our radar screen. We'd be putting a new roof on the parking structure for the police department. But it's our bicentennial, so you're kind of, you know, there's things that we have to do as a community that require us to do the normal cadence of things. But then there's these special projects that make this community unique. And when we sat down and we talked about it, that was the selling point for me. Is like, all right, it's the bicentennial. We have to, you know, this is what people that are at a pay grade above mine and decisions that this is the thing that we need to do. I'm supportive of it because it's our bicentennial. It's you know, it's not pleasant that it's got a cost overrun, but you know what? I have to look at these things separately, because if this was not a bicentennial year, we wouldn't even be having this discussion right now. And
right,
to
so-
walk away from that much money, I think it's just silly. So,
Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Dalden?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Vixen?
No.
Casperson?
Yes.
Giovanelli?
yes.
Peterson?
No.
Ray?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we'll receive a report from the DDA liaison, and then I'll go to PSC. Councilmember Peterson.
Yeah, before that, I want, Madam Mayor, if I just make a statement, please. I'm really disappointed in that vote because of the fact that we sat here groveling over $25,000 to fix a community house for squirrels and animals getting into it that serves the community. So it's my 2 cents. As far as the DDA meeting, it was very uplifting and positive. Wish we could bring that excitement here and have Sue Keel bring in that presentation so the city council could actually see it. That was something that really showed and showcased what our community is really about, and how it's working with the DDA, and how the DDA has been culturing all these beautiful relationships within the businesses here in our community to make us even better and working together. It was a very awesome presentation. I was not able to stay for the whole meeting, but that's what I did see. And prior to that, we had meetings regarding the goals and objectives that they discussed too. So
I'll just follow up and add that Mark Albrecht, the chair, did present the budget. It wasn't voted on, but he went over the whole budget for the committee. They also renewed their lease for another year. They talked about the farmers market project update that was also then given to council this past Tuesday, that information. And I think Ann covered on the other 2 items that were talked about. Mayor Pro Tem, PSD update.
I mean, there's nothing much different. The Main Street, we had our evaluation, went really well. We looked at all of the events that we're doing, making sure that they're balanced. And so that went extremely well. We also were informed that the DDA, I think it was like the night before or whatever, did put together, they did approve the $15,000 to do the farmers market evaluation. And that was from the Visioning Center and session, excuse me. So that was kind of exciting to hear what the possibilities of that. But I think that was pretty much it.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll move on to new business for referral and miscellaneous. Mr. City Manager.
First items are the check register reports. We have 3, March 9th, March 16th, and March 23rd. Next, I want to hit on 5 different items that I spelled out under miscellaneous items. in my memo in the manager's update. The first, vote Rochester's downtown best Main Street in America. There's a link that's in there. You can vote once per day per person. So I would encourage everybody. Again, if you go to our website and you go to the packet, you can just click on the link instead of actually looking and typing in that long URL. Next, I want to highlight our Citizens Police Academy. The Rochester Police Department is now accepting applications for our next academy. The academy will start on April 12th. Again, the flyer is attached in the materials. Next, I'm going to be actually leading a water and sewer meeting here for, 5 different dates, starting off with March 30th at 7 p.m. here in this room. We're going to be talking about the new infrastructure fees, which will start on 7/1/17, the one-time credit that is set to expire currently on April 30th, as well as our water and sewer services. I'll be accompanied by our engineers, as well as our water foreman and somebody from finance. There's outlined other dates. We have 2 dates at the OPC, one at the library, and then a final wrap-up in June back here at City Hall. Next, I want to highlight the auditor request for proposals. The city did receive 4 responses to the auditing service request for proposal. Tonight, it would be great if council could tell me how you would like to proceed. I'm recommending either the finance subcommittee or all of city council meet to interview the top 2 lowest possible firms and make a recommendation to take action on April 10th. I'll pause there. I don't know if you want to have that discussion. Then I do have one final item.
Councilmember Giovanelli.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I actually would have preferred this to be on just a regular agenda item so we can address it, but it's fine where it's at. I'm sorry. Price-wise, it sort of validates where our current auditor's at. Just so understand, how many years has our current auditor been in position for?
7.
7 years?
Yeah.
Okay. So typically, the notion for changing for the sake of change is to get fresh eyes in there and to, have a different set of folks in there looking at things from a brand new perspective. If the pricing was drastically different, it would have made my decision or my recommendation easier. Our current auditor has done a fine job. 7 years is a long time in the duration of auditordom, and as the token CPA up here, I will say, by and large, this particular function is mostly a commodity. I hate to say it, but it really is. It's the value-added part that you get with dealing with folks who understand, your operation. Because the pricing, having a new auditor come in for roughly the same price, I would really ask the administration to kind of think about what their recommendation would be as to which direction they want to go. I remember when we actually wrote the bid ordinance or the bid process, it was the lowest bid. Even though the lowest bid was there, it didn't mean we had to take it. We could do whatever. But in this case, the lowest bid is literally, $2,000 or whatever difference between the two. So it's not, it's virtually a tie. So I personally would be looking for the administration to tell me why not versus why.
Okay, so bring it back as a regular council.
Yeah.
That's what he's asking, either do as a finance subcommittee, or since there's only 4, we could bring it back as a regular
I
council
don't
item.
think we need to make it a whole subcommittee and committee
No,
to
it
death.
gets
This is
to
an
be-
easy one.
yeah,
So.
So we'll bring it back, and you can
Happy to
then-
bring it back and give you our recommendation.
Okay, great.
The final item I had was the update on the DEQ loan grant for the Rewald site. As Deputy Manager Banda noted, and I forwarded as soon as we got from the DEQ along with the proposed developer. Basically, the state has set a very expedited schedule, and I don't know, Nick, if you want to actually jump in.
So unbeknownst to everybody, when Michelle Bakun was here last time, she talked about there was a limited amount of funding, and we are very happy to have her put her foot down and get us a waiting spot, if you will, for $1 million loan and $1 million grant. So council authorized us to write the letter. We did. That usually would take months because of the barrage of applicants from the city of Detroit and everything that's going on in Michigan right now. They decided to tell us, I think now it's 32 days ago, that you're on the list and you have a spot held, which was fine. We were just moving on our same progression. They knew we had to go to the city council, the planning commission, et cetera. Then, what was the 13th or whatever, a letter came to them saying, we can't wait. You have to get your communities to commit to apply at least. Doesn't mean that you have to take the money, but we need to know that you're serious enough to go through the application, which is prepared by an outside consultant. They have to spend the money to go through the whole process to apply. We explained to them that our situation is, my council's probably going to want to know what the project is that we're doing, so Rewald jumped through hoops, if you will, and submitted a site plan to the planning commission, which is reviewed already. It's got substantial compliance to go to the meeting April 3rd, and to schedule the meeting for May 1st. We missed by a day their guidelines. We're going to work with them on that. That still will only let the planning commission have reviewed and hopefully approved to come to city council for a special project, that development. We're not going to be anywhere near approving the whole project. The Brownfield Authority would have to meet to go over the whole project. The state simply said, we need your application in. If you don't want to take the money, don't take the money. We have to be very careful, and I told the developer this. Our reputation's at stake here. We have to show a good reason why we don't take the money, the loan and the grant. Again, the loan is paid back by the new taxes that will be generated from the office building alone that Mr. Rewald would like to start this fall or next spring. So it's not going to be how we collateralize the loan or if it's going to get done. It's in order to hold our place of $1 million grant. It's literally $1 million that is received to this cleanup, and the cleanup's at least $2 million, including a piece of our property along the river. So that's very important. So we're stakeholders in this now. This loan helps us also, even though the developer's going to pay it back with the taxes that he incrementally would be charged for building this new office building. So it's not an unreasonable request. I think that we come forward. I would like to, if we could speed up, even at the 10th meeting of April, to come forward, let the developer and let Michelle come back and explain from their side. I'm not their salesperson. I'm just trying to let you know where we're at in the process, what they need from us. They know the commitment is not there to take that loan if we don't like the project. I'm working with Jeff Haynes in Jeff Krott's office, and we will have an ironclad agreement that we are not committed unless everything's approved and everything is proper. Then they still have to get through the DEQ with all the eligible expenses, et cetera. This is probably a year from now, but I don't want to lose that opportunity to hold our placemaker. That comes down to that.
And our land is in this project.
Our project is part of this to help clean up a piece of our property to it's not cleaning it up. This whole thing's just to mitigate is part of that property, absolutely.
Councilmember Cuthbertson.
And for me, that's a absolutely cardinal issue as to, going along with the process that feels a lot faster than anybody would like, right? For me, the notion that the city's property that's been, burdened by this migration is absolutely central, and I'm going to need to know the specifics of how that might work. The part here that and maybe this is for the 10th meeting or whenever the DEQ shows up, but I'm going to say a bad word, but where the hell is ITT?
Yeah. Absolutely.
We're taking loans. We're taking the state of Michigan is granting money to pay for the actions of the successor in interest of title ITT. They're nowhere to be found in the financial solution here for this effort, this present effort. My great-grandfather is a farmer. Never look a gift horse in the mouth, right? But with respect to getting this fixed, getting a new development in place, or getting it mitigated, getting a new development in place, and there's a resource, an external cash resource to do this. Good, very good. ITT, not here, very bad. And I need administration for my part, and our environmental council to say, what are our options relative to ITT? So that we can accept that in closed session, right? It's an opinion of the city attorney that says, here's your options of dealing with this polluter, right? There's some question as to whether they're in compliance with the plan. At one point they weren't. Having a plan that brings them back into compliance, I'm told, puts them technically in compliance, even though it doesn't protect the public health. Wacko, right? What are we going to do to deal with the party that really should be here? And I just can't let go of that with knowing what we're going to be dealing with in terms of all the hoops and going forward potentially in partnership with the developer and the DEQ. So I've ranted on that, but I would like to request that opinion, as a part of what we do going forward.
I was just going to say that we've already had that discussion with Mr. Haynes and the DEQ and their whole team to say there's two sides to this, and absolutely, I'm going to be gone the 24th, and I really want to be here for this. So if they can hurry it up by the 10th, that's fine. If they can't, we've got to get to the 24th. Mr. Haynes would be here, Mr. Crow would be here, their team would be here, but there's no way I can get here on the 24th. So if they, and it behooves them to speed this up if possible, even just to get the commitment to the DEQ so we don't miss it. But that information will definitely be part of the integral part of the presentation.
Thank you.
Councilmember Bixson.
So quick question, so the loan, Rewald's going to pay that back? But you said through...
Right, so what would happen is, in essence, it's a TIF, so they would get a grant for $1 million, the city gets the grant, that is applied towards the cleanup, then they build their offspilling, the new taxes from that offspilling, because it's getting no dollars there now, that tax dollar pays for the payments of the loan.
What if they don't build that building?
That's what the whole trick is, this with the how do you set up collateral? That can't happen. So they we have fallback positions that can't happen. The city can't default. That's what Mr. Haynes is an expert at. So we will tie them up 50 ways to Sunday.
Yeah, I know.
That there will be cash behind that $1 million loan. So we would never put the city in that position. So
Mayor Pro Tem.
So at this point, I totally understand what all my colleagues are, their questions are, but we need to, can we set so do we need to set a public hearing, or
no,
what is?
Just a presentation. So I can talk to them tomorrow. If they can get ready by the 10th, that would be great. If not, they'll do it the 24th.
Okay, so that's our goal?
Yes.
Okay.
And I, just to piggyback on what Councilmember Cuthbertson said, I was in the meeting when we met originally, and the guy from ITT was there, and the DEQ in no uncertain terms said that ITT is on this is their property, it's their responsibility. So I agree, we need to figure out where they are in this process and what they're going to do.
Yeah, what you'll hear, and I think this is important, what Mr. Haynes is going to talk about is, I'm going to call it extortion, and they use that word at the DEQ. The Rewalds did that. ITT's on the hook. They're saying, we're in this for 30 years to 100 years, and we're going to slap our hands if we let the benzite wall get breached, but we'll fix it, which they did, and we'll continue on. So we're not in any hurry, but Rewald can't use this property, sitting on all this property, and we're not getting any benefit of it because they're stubborn and won't step up and help. So Rewald's hammering on these folks in Los Angeles. So we're going to, and so are we, because we're a partner now. We're affected. So Mr. Haynes has been quite an advocate for us, and it's not pretty half the time, but this is not cool. But we'll keep working our way through it.
Okay. We have
That's all I have.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Banda? Miscellaneous. Madam Clerk.
Nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Mr. City Attorney.
Nothing, thank you.
Councilmember Bixson.
Yes, two things. One, we have the OPC signature event April 28th, which is a Las Vegas night gambling thing with Frank Sinatra person. So if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere or something like that. And then second thing, I see Colin in the audience. I'm hoping the tennis courts. It's now the third week of the high school tennis season, so every net in Oakland County is up, except for our favorite courts. So thank you.
I did make that request to our parks foreman. He told me between April 10th and 12th. There's some water issues, and that continues to be the problem that he highlights. We can take a look at water tiles and other things in the future, so that we won't have the water causing us issues, so that we can't put in the posts that then would shift so that they couldn't have the nets up. But I am on top of that, along with
and I appreciate that. And as I say, every year my tennis constituency does not really buy into that. Thank you.
Councilmember Ray. May I only say that this is a rite of spring,
Yeah.
this discussion.
Councilmember Ray.
Just looking forward to the youth recognition banquet for the Rochester Area Youth Assistants tomorrow.
Great. Councilmember Giovanelli.
Yes, I'd like to request an excused absence for last meeting since I was on my deathbed.
Support.
Support.
Madam Clerk, the roll.
Dalden?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Cuthbertson?
Yes.
Giovanelli?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
I just wanted to vote no on my own excused absence.
I was going to try if you wanted. Councilmember, I'm sorry? Oh, he can. Yeah, that's okay. Councilmember Cuthbertson.
Thank you. Based on this evening's events, I think we're obligated to put the future of Rochester's Historic District Ordinance on a future agenda.
Absolutely.
I'd like to recommend that we not do it at the next meeting, maybe, wait one meeting for a bit of a cooling off, but given what's occurred, I think it squarely calls its future into question, and in as much as we have one property who wanted to opt out, not based on a historic consideration, that we have, in my view, or at least my concern, effectively waived the applicability or the effect of the ordinance relative to a prior party. So we need to clean that up quickly, because this council has planted the seeds of litigation this evening, in my respectful view. And with that, I have nothing further this evening.
Councilmember Peterson.
Yes, Madam Mayor. Only one thing. I've had a couple businesses contact me regarding being ticketed regarding their parking. And I didn't know if there was anything, or if I can take that up later with somebody. I don't know.
I would probably suggest you talk to the police chief about that one.
Chief's raising his hand. He's ready.
Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, I have a couple things. At our last workshop, one of the things that I requested is that they be recorded, just because there's so much discussion that is happening at those workshops, and they're not taped, and so that's just a great resource for us. And that some of the items in the minutes, maybe we could beef those up a little bit, because when we're going back for record, it's very light. The Paint Creek Trailways, they did put together a timeline. Unfortunately, that was when our workshop was, so I missed that Trailways meeting. But we are going to pursue a timeline for when that piece of property that we own that goes into Bloomer. So we're looking to put the deck in first, and then waiting to put the trail in when they redo the trail area. The one thing we were looking at is the limestone area is very muddy, and nothing is seeping through on the trailway. The trailway that they want to resurface is actually excellent right now. It's better than the other part of the trailway, because there's not any ruts or anything like that. The other thing that was brought forth to us at the subcommittee is to have a kayak for ADA compliant, but we really don't feel like that is the best opportunity for that to go there, because it's not close to the parking lot. It would be very difficult for the person in a wheelchair to even get their kayak, in that area. And then I don't know. So we need to discuss what that looks like, because
that's bad information they're getting. That's not true. It's directly by the parking lot. It's directly got a handicap access to get right to that one spot. So They should know that because we met with them before. But I'll follow up
Okay,
on
because
that
that
for
would
you.
be the Clinton River Trail, not the Paint Creek.
Right. It's at the Clinton River Trail, correct.
Okay, so okay.
I think you have the wrong location. They might have the
because
wrong
they gave
location.
us, they
Got
thought
it.
it was our location.
Got it.
Okay, so we're.
Oh, no,
good.
no, it's not that.
Okay, so that's where the miss, okay, that's where the miss is. That's it. Thank you.
I would like an excused absence since I forgot to ask last time because we got so busy.
So moved. Support.
Madam Clerk, the roll.
Sheldon?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Vixen?
Yes.
Cuthbertson?
Yes.
Jovinelli?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
I was waiting for you to say no. Any other miscellaneous this evening? Yep. Well, why don't you come up now then? Well, better late than never.
I'm hearing from a lot of people asking, even when I came in the room tonight, why so many of our centennial events are being held in Rochester Hills. I don't have an answer for that. Do you guys? Seriously, I mean, the last one, they were all held downtown, and my husband grew a nice beard that he shaved off a week before because he couldn't stand it. So he was out of the competition. But no, I mean, why aren't they in town? What's the deal? So that's just one of the questions. You know, I think you guys all really ought to sit back and kind of take a breath and look at the budget and not add a whole lot of stuff to it anymore and just see what happens with the economy in this during this next year. You might have increased revenue, you might not. You know, those things are cyclical, and we're about to go into one of those. They keep predicting one of those cycles is coming along one of these days, even though a lot of people haven't recovered from the last one, so which was really bad.
Thank you.
So just a suggestion, and I can suggest places to save money. One, I will tell you right now, get rid of one election. Why do you have a private election for city council? Really? Cost $70,000, I think, the last time. How much?
Well, it might have for a presidential election, but it usually costs between 7 and 10 for a local election.
Last time for the
7,000.
So over 10
7,000.
years,
7,
that's
not 70.
Huh?
7, not 70.
7,000 for a city council election all by itself? Serious? That's not the numbers I saw in the budget. Serious?
That was the presidential election. Was the 70.
I was looking at that. I was looking at some other stuff before. Okay, I'll go back and look. But if that's all it's going to cost us, $7,000, that won't save that much money. But what would really save money is, and I've been talking to people and asking them, do you have any problem or hear any problems with police protection in Oakland County or Oakland Township or Rochester Hills? No, why? I said, we don't have the sheriff's department. Got demonized in this city. There's a couple $1 million a year, folks, and that's serious stuff.
I think we've been
And
there,
you
done
really
that.
ought to go back and think about that.
Thank you very much. Sarah, did you have something?
The numbers weren't even close to that. I know.
Easiest way to get up there and not quite figure that out.
Plow ahead, man.
We gotta get her set up
Tell
with a
Nick to get out of your way.
VIP pass.
I just wanted to help us end on a lighter note, okay, tonight?
Thank you. You're doing the Lord's work. Thank you.
Sometimes. The house across the street from me is going to be on House Hunters on HGTV tomorrow night at 11 o'clock. The young couple who bought it applied while they still were wherever they were coming from, and it was approved. And when they moved in and we saw all these cameras and things, we thought, what is going on? And so it's going to be on HGTV tomorrow night, 11 o'clock at night. And so Rochester, Michigan will be at least mentioned.
Yes.
I don't know how much or why or what, but anyway, I thought that would be fun for everybody to know.
Thank you so much.
So you're saying we know in advance that they chose to buy the house? That's the.
Yeah.
All right.
There's all kinds of NDAs being violated right now. All kinds of
There's only
them.
6 people watching this.
I just, for the record,
Damages
I'd like
are
to,
small.
I'd like to make it.
The house next door to me is sold as well, and the young lady has just moved in.
No, for clarification, there is no keeping up with the Joneses. We are the Joneses.
I like that.
Thank you. I need a motion to consideration of a request to go into closed session to consider a periodic personal
So moved.
evaluation of the city manager. Who made the, Councilman Ray? Madam Clerk, the roll.
Dalton?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Vixen?
Yes.
Cuthbertson?
Yes.
Govanelli?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
Take a recess.